Chapter 666. Su-yun took care of the people around him at lightning speed. Lin Suin and the rest of the class were stunned. The girl who sat behind Su-yun and reminded Su-yun to leave just now wondered if she was dreaming. You. Shu Chili widened his eyes and pointed at Su-yun. His Adam's apple moved a few times, but he didn't say anything. Su-yun acted as if nothing had happened. He sat comfortably in his seat and said leisurely, "You what? Didn't your father teach you not to point at people casually? It's very disrespectful. If you meet someone with a bad temper, it's very likely that they will break your finger." Although Shu Chili didn't want to admit defeat, the fear in his heart made him quickly retract his hand. "Do you know who I am? Do you know who my father is? If you go against me, you will definitely not have a good ending. Your Mandarin is not bad. I know. Your father is the president of Longxing Society. He has a lot of people under him, right? Thousands? Tens of thousands? If that's the case, I will be very scared." Su-yun shrugged his shoulders. "If it's just a small gang leader with 100 people, then you must not act like a tyrant in front of me. I may not care at all." Shu Chili didn't expect this guy to dare to treat him like this when he knew his identity and background. Shu Chili, who was facing the crisis of hegemony for the first time, didn't know what to do. "It's class time now. Do you want to stay in class or send your people to the infirmary for treatment?" "Su-yun, I will give you 10 seconds to choose. If you don't choose, then I will help you choose the third option. You and your people will go to the infirmary for treatment." After Su-yun finished speaking, his biting cold gaze pierced into Shu Chili's heart. Shu Chili had never been so embarrassed. The follower who blocked the door was also dumbfounded. He didn't know what to do until Shu Chili yelled at him. "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and take them to the school infirmary." The lackey ran over and helped the 3 guys who had been knocked down in one round. They followed Shu Chili and left the classroom in a sorry state. The teacher at the door was very surprised when he saw this scene, but he also hated these bastards, so he didn't ask who hit them. Moreover, the teacher even said to Shu Chili happily, "This surprise of yours is really very special. At first, I thought it was a shock, but now I realize that it's more appropriate to use the word surprise to describe it. Your primary school language is really good." Shu Chili didn't have the time to argue with his teacher. He just glared fiercely and left in a hurry. With the arrival of the teacher, the small incident that had just occurred in class was slowly forgotten. However, what no one could forget was the might and dominance of this new student. In the words of the girl sitting behind Su-yun, she said, "This guy is not human." Lin Suin did not express any gratitude towards Su-yun because of his actions. She quietly listened to the class and silently recorded every important knowledge that the teacher asked her to remember. Su-yun appreciated this very much. A girl who loved to study generally had a good character. The class soon ended. After the teacher announced the end of the class, Lin Suin intended to find a place where there was no one to have a good chat with the new student behind her. However, the other students in the class were too enthusiastic. Before Lin Suin could make an appointment, she was quickly surrounded by people, including her friends. They all turned their attention to the new student. "Handsome, what's your name? Buddy, where are you from? Handsome, when did you come to our school? Warm guy, did you transfer here through connections? Brother, have you practiced kung fu before? Can you teach us a few moves?" There were all kinds of questions. It was definitely more than a police investigation. Su-yun didn't know how to get out of the situation. The scene was a little too big. However, the enthusiasm of the students of Taiwan University far exceeded Su-yun's expectations. They almost asked all the things they were curious about. They didn't feel unfamiliar with Su-yun at all. They scrambled to make friends with this guy who dared to go against Shu Chili. Lin Suin was naturally speechless at first, but later she could only helplessly shake her head. She really didn't expect that there would be a new student who was more popular than her in this class. Although everyone's focus shifted away from her, Lin Suin was not jealous at all. Instead, she enjoyed it. Like other students, She was curious to hear how Su Yun would answer these complicated questions. However, Su Yun didn't seem to be particularly cooperative. He just answered everyone with a smile. "Everyone, don't be like this. You're too enthusiastic. I'm not used to it. Can you let me take a breather first?" The 10-minute break between classes was very short. The class bell meant that everyone should obediently return to their seats. Although everyone now knew that Shu Qi wouldn't come back, no one changed their seats. It seemed that they were used to the rule that no one could sit behind Lin Suin. Before the teacher came to the classroom, Lin Suin made a decision that surprised everyone. She actually turned around and put the textbook in front of Su Yun. Then she got up and walked to Su Yun's side and sat down. "New student, you don't have a textbook. Do you mind if I share it with you?" Lin Suin said generously. She gave Su Yun enough reason to like this girl. "I can't ask for more." Su Yun's words were definitely the thoughts of every boy in the class. To be able to share a textbook with Lin Suin was definitely a heavenly treatment. The class started again. Su Yun could clearly feel that Lin Suin's attention was far less than during the first class. She no longer used a pen to record the things that the teacher asked her to record. Instead, she would secretly glance at Su Yun from time to time. Finally, when the teacher was writing on the blackboard, she whispered, "So many students are asking for your name. You haven't answered yet." "Su Yun." Su Yun smiled slightly. "What about you?" "Lin Suin." Lin Suin also agreed with a smile. "You can also call me Mia. Everyone seems to like to call me that." Su Yun nodded. "Although the name Mia sounds nice, I feel that Lin Suin seems to have more charm. The person who gave you that name must be a very capable person. Children's names are of course given by their parents. Isn't yours the same?" Lin Suin said faintly, "Your name sounds nice too. It's simple and generous." Su Yun shrugged his shoulders. Generally, only when there's no other words to describe it would they use simple and generous to describe it. "It seems that my name is a failure. It's just a name, a person's code name." Lin Suin smiled. "I don't believe in those so-called name masters. They would give names based on the 5 elements, 8 trigrams, feng shui, yin, yang, and the 8 characters of birth. A person's fate would never change because of his name. A person named Tianlong might not be able to ascend to heaven, and a person named Shizhen might not be an idiot." "You have a strategically advantageous view," Su Yun said in admiration. Lin Suin seemed to have opened up a chatterbox. "Take me for example. No matter if I'm called Lin Suin or Mia, I'll always be me. My identity would never change because of my name. Isn't that right? Do you really want to change your identity?" Su Yun smiled. Lin Suin spread her hands helplessly. "Who knows?" The teacher finished writing a few sentences on the blackboard and turned around. Su Yun and Lin Suin also tacitly stopped talking and looked at the few lines of words on the blackboard seriously. They were all theoretical knowledge about economics and trade. Regardless of whether these theoretical knowledge were useful or not, Su Yun wasn't particularly interested. However, he felt that all theories must rely on practice. Only by knowing the theory could one become a so-called expert in economics at most. Only by combining it with practice could one become a successful business person. Although he wasn't particularly interested in economics and trade, Su Yun was still full of yearning for the classroom. At least, he felt that no matter what, he had to experience university life. Even if he didn't learn anything in school, it was still an experience. Nowadays, young people often like to leave school early and join the society early as capital to show off. However, when they really went through the youth of their life, they would realize that the things they lost were definitely more precious than the so-called experience of joining the society. Perhaps this was the reality of life. A considerable number of highly educated students were working for big bosses with low educational qualifications. However, many young people did not know that many big bosses would even spend a lot of money to listen to a real professor's lecture at a famous university. Because when they succeeded, they understood that theory and practice were absolutely equally important. If they didn't have these theories, they would have taken many more detours and endured many more difficulties. Therefore, they would go all out to find the things that they didn't do in their youth. That was sitting in the university's church and listening to every truth of the old professors. Many famous universities had such courses that were specially taught to successful bosses. Some classes even cost more than 10,000 yuan per person per day. However, there were still people who were willing to pay. This completely explained the value of knowledge. Lin Suin's initial absent-mindedness slowly turned into a serious listening. Su Yun didn't disturb her anymore. He also accompanied her to think about the teacher's question. However, Su Yun was thinking more about whether it was too smooth for him to get to know Lin Suin so smoothly. It was said that there was no smooth sailing in this world. Su Yun was very clear that he couldn't be complacent because of this. Otherwise, it was very likely that extreme joy would turn into sorrow. After all, Lin Suin still didn't know that Su Yun intended to get in touch with her. If she knew, who knew if she could still be friends with Su Yun? Or perhaps, this sensitive goddess would feel angry because Su Yun had hidden so deeply. The class bell rang again. The classroom was filled with joy and peace. The classes of university students were like this. They would never be packed full. For example, today was the first day of school for Lin Suin and the others. The economics and trade major only had 2 classes in the morning. The rest of the time was completely free to be used freely. Whether it was going to the library to read books or going to the dormitory to surf the net, it was all up to personal preference. "Thank you for your textbook," Su Yun said. "You're welcome." Lin Suin smiled. "Student Su, I suddenly feel that you don't look like a student at all." Su Yun grinned and said, "Really? If you're interested, we can find a place to chat. Well, as long as you don't mind, I'm willing to accompany you any time. Anyway, I don't have anything to do." "Okay, I don't have anything to do either. Then you can wait for me at the coffee shop next to the cafeteria. I have to go back to the dormitory to change my clothes first." Lin Suin smiled and said. Chapter 667. While Su Yun was busy flirting with Lin Suin in school, Wu Yuandong wasn't idle either. He hid in the dock all day long to investigate Ji Feng's matter. Although Ji Feng didn't get the firearms from Huang Xiong in the mainland, he couldn't be sure if Ji Feng, who didn't repent in the past 3 years, had gotten the firearms from other channels. Most importantly, he had to find evidence of him colluding with the Japanese. What the president hated the most was people who forgot their ancestors. As long as it was a Chinese with flesh and blood and backbone, it was absolutely impossible for them to cooperate with the Japanese to do something that would harm the interests of China. A person who didn't even care about national shame, the president absolutely looked down on him. However, he didn't know that he was being deceived by such a person. His number 1 subordinate, the hall master of the Crimson Gold Hall, Ji Feng, was actually such a person who forgot national shame. However, Wu Yuandong did not obtain any meaningful information even after following Ji Feng for an entire day. He did not see any movements from Ji Feng at all. Instead, Ji Feng was carrying out all the tasks assigned to him by the guild leader. As for Ji Feng's most trusted subordinates, they were also behaving normally. It could be said that the few people Wu Yuandong had focused his attention on did not do anything sneaky the entire day. He could not find any evidence to prove otherwise. After running around for an entire day, Wu Yuandong could only rush back under the cover of the night. Ji Feng and the others were definitely more alert at night. Moreover, today was the day of the Three Lotus Association's very important monthly meeting. For the next few days, all of the hall masters and their subordinates, the 5 tigers, would be attending the monthly meeting. Wu Yuandong was very clear that Ji Feng would not be able to do anything today. The only thing he could do was explain to the president how his subordinates had gone missing. After all, the president didn't know that Ji Feng brought his 5 tigers to the mainland and drank whiskey that was spiked. Then, in the blink of an eye, they were killed by an expert. Su Yun was the same as Wu Yuandong. Under the cover of the night, he dragged his tired body back to Wu Yuandong's house. Wu Yuandong was drinking alone in the dark. He bought beer and fried chicken. Although he didn't know if Su Yun had eaten, he bought enough for one more person. However, he still hoped that Su-Yun had a successful date with the young Mississippi. Brother, you're back. How was it? Did everything go well today? Have you seen eldest miss? Can you recognize her? When Wu Yuandong saw Su-Yun come back, he immediately put down the beer in his hand and quickly asked Su-Yun to sit down and drink with him. Su-Yun was also thirsty and hungry now. He took a can of beer from Wu Yuandong and drank it in one gulp. With the liquid bread as a cushion, Su-Yun's stomach felt much better. There's good news and bad news. Which one do you want to hear? Wu Yuandong was stunned for a moment. The good news can't be that. Good news. Today is the celebration of the store. All goods are on clearance sale at the $10 store, right? Do you think I'm filming a loser? Su-Yun almost spat out the beer he just drank. Alright, let me tell you the good news first. I already know you're Miss Lin Suin. Moreover, we attend classes together and are desk mates. She even lent me her books for us to use together. This shouldn't be considered a casual acquaintance, right? Wu Yuandong nodded vigorously. This should be considered a friendship between gentlemen. Then, tell me. Then, did you have an appointment to have a meal together after class? Then it's the bad news. Su-Yun shrugged his shoulders and took another can of beer. He opened it and gulped down a few mouthfuls. We were planning to go on a date. Your eldest miss asked me to wait for her at the entrance of the coffee shop beside the school cafeteria. Then, I went. How can this be considered as bad news? This is such a good thing. Don't tell me that the bad news is that you were rejected at the coffee shop? Brother, this matter can't develop so fast. Our eldest miss isn't like other gay girls who can be together with you just because she has feelings for you. She's actually very conservative. Wu Yuandong quickly defended Lin Suin. Su-Yun snorted. Nonsense. It'll be great if that's the case. Besides, I'm not such a casual person who wants to pursue her on our first date. The important thing is that she stood me up on our first date. Please, she was the one who asked me out. She said that she would look for me after she went back to the dormitory to change her clothes. I waited like an idiot for a whole day. Wu Yuandong looked at Su-Yun with his mouth wide open. Waiting for a whole day? How patient. Brother Dong, let me tell you. I'm doing this for you. If not, I would have left immediately after 20 minutes if I didn't see her. Su-Yun said indignantly. I kept finding excuses to comfort myself. I told myself that she might have encountered something and that she might be here in 5 minutes. I waited like an idiot until school ended in the afternoon. Wu Yuandong smiled embarrassedly. Brother, let me tell you something. Please don't be angry. Huh? Su-Yun was stunned. According to my understanding of the eldest miss, she definitely won't have a dormitory. When she was in junior high school, the school forced her to live in the dormitory, but she didn't. Wu Yuandong said, she especially likes peace and quiet. It's impossible for her to stay in a dormitory with other people. F***ck. Su-Yun almost cursed out loud. If that was the case, then that girl was obviously playing with him. F***ck. To think that I saw how pure and cute she was and even helped her chase away the flies in the latrine pit that were buzzing around her. I didn't expect her to repay me like this. I really thought that she would treat me to a cup of coffee. Su-Yun gave a thumbs up. Brother Dong, the eldest miss of the Three Lotus Society is really something. There should be a limit to playing with people. It's a little unethical to play with anyone. Wu Yuandong looked at Su-Yun and felt very guilty. He once again spoke up for Lin Suin. Brother, please don't take it to heart. The eldest miss is actually very kind. It's just that the environment she grew up in made her see too much deception. It's understandable that she doesn't trust people she meets for the first time. You have to understand that she definitely didn't come for you. She came for something. But I didn't do anything wrong to her. Besides, she asked me out, not the other way around. It's not that bad, right? Su-Yun was quite helpless. Forget it, forget it. I won't argue with her. It makes me seem petty. I'll definitely ask her what she means tomorrow. Wu Yuandong smiled bitterly. You're a man. You have to be more tolerant. The eldest miss will definitely see that you're sincere to her. Su Yun shook his head. If she didn't play with me today, I would still be quite sincere. But since she played with me today, I don't have that much patience. Wu Yuandong knew that he had let Su Yun down, so he was too embarrassed to say anything more. He raised his beer and said, "Come, let's drink. Everything will be over after a few drinks. It's not a big deal at all." Su Yun also knew that he couldn't blame Wu Yuandong for this. He also couldn't complain to him. He raised his glass and drank with him. Wu Yuandong was absolutely right. Everything would be over after a few drinks. Brother Dong, how about you? Did you find anything today? Did you find any evidence of Ji Feng and the Japanese? Su Yun, actually, evidence is very important. If you can't find any evidence, even if I tricked Lin Suyin into meeting secretly, you won't be able to convince her. Wu Yuandong also had a headache over this matter. I didn't find anything either. Ji Feng seems to be more cautious this time. He didn't give himself away. Of course, it could also be because today is the monthly meeting of the Three Lotus Association. He has a lot of things to deal with today. Su Yun shrugged his shoulders. Looks like both of us didn't find anything today. Hurry, drink, drink. I didn't find anything. At least you got to know Mississippi. This development is much faster than I thought. Wu Yuandong was quite good at comforting himself. Although Miss played with you, this also means that she didn't treat you as a bad person. This can be considered a joke between friends, right? Hee, what could Su Yun say? He could only laugh dryly. What kind of joke was this between friends? If they were really friends, how could they play with him? He waited for an entire day. The two of them finished an entire box of 24 cans of beer within 2 hours. After eating some fried chicken, the two of them washed up and went to bed. The next day, the two of them still had to do the same thing. Although Su Yun was played by Lin Suyin, he had to admit that Lin Suyin had piqued his interest. He really wanted to see what kind of tricks this little girl could play. Tomorrow at school, he would definitely question her properly. The next morning, when Su Yun arrived at Taiwan University, he regretted that he didn't prepare an economics and trade class schedule. If he knew that there would only be classes at 10 a.m., he wouldn't have stupidly arrived at school at 7:30 a.m. Bored to death, Su Yun wandered to the field. When he saw his friends playing basketball, he took the initiative to join them. After scoring 2 3-pointers and a slam dunk, Su Yun's basketball skills definitely shocked his friends from Taiwan Island. They absolutely believed that if this guy in front of them went to the NBA, he would definitely be crazier than their fellow countryman, Lin Guangfeng. Finally, it was 9:50 a.m. Su Yun found a water pipe to wash his face. Then, he hurried to the economics and trade class that he heard about on the basketball court. This time, when Su Yun arrived at the classroom, Lin Suyin was already seated. The situation was similar to yesterday. She was still sitting with her friends. There was still no one sitting at the back row. Su Yun didn't care about the strange gazes of the students in the class. He walked directly to Lin Suyin and unceremoniously sat at the seat beside Lin Suyin. The impression that Su Yun gave to the class was absolutely extraordinary. Many people were sweating for this guy who took an inch and wanted a mile. Yesterday, he was still sitting behind Lin Suyin. Today, he took the initiative to sit at the same table. If Xu Qili, who was defeated yesterday, saw this, what would happen? Maybe the people from Longxing Society would come and cause trouble today. Lin Suyin smiled and looked at Su Yun. You really aren't afraid of causing trouble for yourself. But I don't have a textbook. I can only hope that you can share it with me. Su Yun said. Lin Suyin calmly said, how can a student not have a textbook? If you are not a student, then you must have some purpose for coming to the university campus every day. What purpose I have is not important. But I definitely didn't come to the university to play around. Su Yun said, I was like a fool waiting in the coffee shop for so long. But the girl who asked me out didn't show up. No matter what purpose I had, I didn't think that the world was so sinister. Lin Suin pretended to be surprised and said, I'm so sorry. After I returned to the dormitory yesterday, a teacher went to check the violation of the use of high-power electrical appliances in the dormitory. So, I forgot about it. I'm so sorry to have made you wait in vain. Act. Continue to act. Su Yun said in his heart. Wu Yuandong told me yesterday that a little girl like you would never stay in the dormitory. Where did the dormitory come from? Chapter 668. Lin Suin stared at Su Yun without blinking. However, Su Yun didn't look embarrassed at all. He met Lin Suin's gaze and stared back at Lin Suin without holding back. This girl was definitely better looking than Su Yun's imagination. Her facial features were exquisite as if they were carved by a world-class artist. What a perfect ratio! Lin Suin slowly fell into a disadvantageous position as she stared at Su Yun. However, she still stubbornly refused to admit defeat. However, Su Yun's gaze had already moved from her chin to her sexy collarbone. If he continued to look down, it would be her cleavage in front of her chest. Lin Suin could only give up looking at him and chose to admit defeat. What you said just now meant that you don't believe me. But I really didn't lie to you. If you don't believe that I was really in the dormitory yesterday, then I can invite you to my dormitory as a guest to show my sincerity. Then, can you forgive me for missing the appointment yesterday? You didn't miss the appointment yesterday. That's called purposely standing me up. Su Yun said, but seeing your sincerity, I will accept your invitation. However, will the female dormitory's building manager allow a guy like me to go to the female dormitory? Lin Suin provoked. Why? You don't dare? The dormitory's building manager will go to the cafeteria for lunch between 5 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. If you dare, then I will wait for you at the entrance of the female dormitory. Why wouldn't I dare? Su Yun shrugged his shoulders. I have never been to the female dormitory before. It's good to have a look. I will treat it as a growth point to gain experience. Maybe I can write a book and publish it in my old age. You. Lin Suin's voice of disbelief made Su Yun very unhappy. Su Yun taunted. Why? Are you surprised? After I visit your dorm, I'm going to write a novel called The Days of Spending Nights in the Girls' Dorm. Who knows, I might even become famous online. Lin Suin smiled slightly. You think too much. I am just inviting you to my dormitory to prove that I didn't stand you up on purpose. Most importantly, I can't really let you spend the night in the female dormitory. If you think too much, then I can only apologize. Don't worry, I'm not such a casual person. Su Yun saw that the teacher had already arrived at the classroom. After he sat down, he didn't say anything else. This was a very boring ideological cultivation class. Generally speaking, most of the college students would choose this class to complete things like skipping classes, falling in love, sleeping, and so on. Lin Suin didn't seem to have any interest in this class. She was sleepy halfway through the class. The teacher on the podium also seemed to be very clear that his class was an extremely boring test for the students, so even if there was talk in class, he would turn a blind eye. As long as you didn't go overboard, he would absolutely not say anything about you. Why don't I tell you a joke? Su Yun suddenly said. Lin Suin, who was bored to death, nodded her head. She wasn't interested in jokes. She just wanted to pass the time. There is a fool in a village in the northeast. His name is Gang Dan. On this sunny day, the sky is clear. Gang Dan excitedly came to the village's waste collection station and asked the boss, "Do you want iron?" The boss knew that there was something wrong with Gang Dan's brain, but he still said, "Yes, where is it?" Gang Dan whispered, "It's a little long, you have to cut it yourself." The boss nodded, "It's okay, I can cut it myself. I have tools, where is the iron?" Gang Dan whispered again, "Not now, I'll take you there in the evening." Su Yun began to tell jokes, which quickly attracted Lin Suin's attention. Even the friends next to Lin Suin and the students in the front row couldn't help but come over to listen to the joke. In the evening, Gang Dan came to the boss of the waste station, and then took the boss to the railway under the moonlight. He pointed to the railway and said to him, "Harbin to Guangzhou, give me a price." When Su Yun's voice fell, it instantly caused a burst of laughter. Maybe because there were too many people, it angered the teacher's bottom line for the classroom. The teacher stared at everyone. "What are you doing? Who is disturbing the classroom discipline?" Su Yun didn't want to implicate everyone, so he stood up. "Sorry, teacher, it's me." "Get out." The teacher wanted to punish him as an example. Su Yun shrugged helplessly and could only prepare to leave the classroom. 5 o'clock in the afternoon, at the door of the girls' dormitory. "I'll wait for you," Lin Suin whispered to Su Yun before he left. Su Yun smiled bitterly. "I was punished by the teacher, and you still want to make fun of me? You're not kind, right?" After leaving the classroom, Su Yun was ready to go out for a stroll, take the round the island bus, stroll around Taiwan Island, enjoy the cultural scenery of Taiwan Island, and feel the cultural heritage of Taiwan Island. However, he didn't expect that waiting for him at the school gate was a group of unfriendly young people who were too gay. Several vans opened their doors, and Xu Qili and more than 30 people surrounded Su Yun at the fastest speed. This situation was really scary, so that the students who didn't have class and were going out for shopping all ran away. "What, can you still laugh now?" Xu Qili walked in front of Su Yun. "Kid, I warned you not to provoke me, or you will regret it. Unfortunately, you didn't listen, and it's too late to regret now. There's no medicine for regret in this world." Su Yun smiled helplessly. "You know that there's no medicine for regret in this world? Forget it, anyway, there's nothing to do today. What do you want to do? I'll accompany you. However, there are so many people at the school gate, can't we keep a low profile?" Xu Qili sneered. "You still know that you're afraid of losing face. Okay, I'll satisfy you, and I won't do anything to you in front of so many people. If you know what's good for you, then follow me to the car. I'll take you to see what kind of organization Longxing Society is." Su Yun cooperated and sat in one of the vans. Wasn't it just a gang? Su Yun wanted to see what kind of tricks they could play. He was worried that he had nothing to do all day. Finally, there was someone to accompany him to spend time. He couldn't ask for more. Xu Qili seemed to know Su Yun's thoughts. Several cars went directly to the Huandao Avenue, even saving Su Yun the money to take the bus. Su Yun didn't stay idle in the car. He enjoyed the beautiful scenery outside the window. If he was curious about something, he didn't feel ashamed to ask. Xu Qili and several of Longxing Society's thugs were very speechless. They didn't understand what this unlucky guy was thinking in his mind. About an hour later, Su Yun was taken by Xu Qili to a place where there were few people. When the car stopped, Xu Qili sneered, "What do you think of this place? There's no one. You're not afraid of losing face like this, right?" "Yes, I like quiet places where there are no people." After Su Yun got out of the car, he looked around. It was indeed a good place to kill and set fire. "Unfortunately, you made the wrong choice. If it was at the school gate, I would at most teach you a lesson. I wouldn't dare to take your life in front of so many people," Xu Qili said, "but it's different now. Although Taiwan Island isn't big, if you really killed 1 or 2 people and threw them into the sea to feed the fish, it wouldn't be so easy to be noticed." After that, Xu Qili pointed to the sea in front of him. "This is the place where my family raises marine products. You can just be the feed for these marine products. What are you going to do?" Su Yun said, "Don't dawdle. I still have a lot of places I want to go but haven't been." "You haven't been to hell. I'll send you on your way," Xu Qili said to the 30 thugs of Longxing Society. "Do it." In the face of 30 fierce young men like wolves and tigers, Su Yun only took 1 minute and 30 seconds to settle them all. On average, it took 3 seconds for one person. If it wasn't for the last few guys who were scared silly by Su Yun's skill and wanted to run, maybe he could save more than 10 seconds. Xu Qi Li's eyes were open today. He had seen people who could fight, but he had never seen someone who could fight like this. One had to know that these 30-odd people were the best fighters in Longxing society. Last night, he had tried so hard to persuade his father to lend them out. But in the time it took to pee, more than 30 people were all kneeling. This wasn't King movie. Crazy. Xu Qi Li was really crazy. Su Yun smiled and walked towards Xu Qi Li. Xu Qi Li was so scared that he squatted on the ground. What do you want to do? I want to ask you something. As long as you answer truthfully, I won't touch you. Su Yun said, Do you know Lin Suin's identity? Xu Qi Li nodded. I know. She is the big miss of the Three Lotus Society. You know and you still dare to touch her? Su Yun said, Do you think that as long as you can chase the big miss of the Three Lotus Society, your Fart Longxing Society will have a place on Taiwan Island? Hee. Go back and tell your father that the big miss of the Three Lotus Society is not someone you can mess with. Xu Qi Li clenched his teeth and suppressed the fear in his heart. I know, you must be one of Ji Feng's people. Su Yun was stunned for a moment. He didn't understand what this guy was saying, but he didn't deny it. So what, bite me? Damn it. My father gave Ji Feng so many benefits. Ji Feng has already agreed that I can pursue Mia. Why did he change his mind now? Xu Qi Li said angrily. Is your Crimson Gold Society's leader so dishonest? Ji Feng received benefits from Longxing Society? Su Yun was really surprised by this news. It seemed that Ji Feng was very sure that Lin Suin wouldn't fall for this kind of trash, so he deliberately played them. So what if he doesn't keep his word? If you have the ability, ask your father to talk to our leader. Su Yun pushed the boat with the current. Now, he had to give Ji Feng some trouble to distract him so that he wouldn't have time to notice what Wu Yuandong wanted to do. Xu Qi Li was angry and wronged, but he couldn't do anything to Su Yun. He swore that he would ask his father to ask Ji Feng for an explanation. He couldn't let Ji Feng take advantage of their family and then stab him in the back. Su Yun pointed at the best van among the few and said to Xu Qi Li, I'll borrow this van for a day. When it runs out of gas, I'll leave it by the roadside. As for where it will be placed, I don't know. Don't forget to ask someone to get it. You want to leave just like that? Xu Qi Li said angrily. He was so angry that he forgot that he didn't have the ability to make Su Yun stay. Su Yun smiled and walked in front of Xu Qi Li. Suddenly, he kicked Xu Qi Li. He kicked Xu Qi Li away. Xu Qi Li didn't know how many times he rolled on the ground. In the end, he rolled until he fainted and stopped. He was about 30 meters away from Su Yun. It wasn't that Su Yun didn't want to kick his head, but he was afraid that he would kick him to death. Chapter 669. Su Yun was so engrossed in playing that he had forgotten what Lin Suin had said to him. The appointment at the girls' dormitory at 5:30 in the afternoon had also been forgotten. It wasn't that Su Yun's memory wasn't good. It was just that Su Yun felt that it wasn't a big deal for a person to fall into a pit once. However, if he fell into the same pit twice, he would be no different from an idiot. In the end, Su Yun could not remember where he had left the van. When the sky darkened, Su Yun took a taxi back to Wu Yuandong's neighborhood. Before Su Yun went upstairs, Wu Yuandong called. He had discovered something new. He had overheard Ji Feng's men say that Ji Feng was going to meet someone at 8:30 in the evening. Wu Yuandong was worried that he could not handle it alone, so he called Su Yun for help. Su Yun hung up the phone and rushed to Wu Yuandong's place. At 8:15 in the evening, the two met. There were still 15 minutes before Ji Feng's meeting time. Wu Yuandong drove the car he had rented from the car rental agency and waited outside Ji Feng's private tea house with Su Yun. Although it was called a tea house, it was actually a place that provided gambling venues such as mahjong and pai gao. The tea house was just a cover. This was Ji Feng's own business. Although the president of the Three Lotus Society knew about it, he would not interfere with his men's business. As long as it did not violate the rules of the Three Lotus Society, it did not matter what they did to make money. Ji Feng's Mercedes-Benz was parked in front of the tea house. Soon, a BMW stopped in front of the tea house. A middle-aged man came out of the car and quickly entered the tea house under the guidance of Ji Feng's men. Su Yun frowned. He doesn't look like a Japanese. Judging from his lips just now, he's speaking Chinese. Moreover, his accent is too strong. He is really not a Japanese. Wu Yuandong seemed to know the middle-aged man who got out of the car and went in. The man just now is called Xu Gongqi. Although he is not a capable person in Taiwan, he is still okay. He has been running Longxing Society for more than 10 years. Although he is not famous, he has never declined. Pausing for a moment, Wu Yuandong asked doubtfully, "But why is Xu Gongqi looking for Ji Feng? What relationship does Ji Feng have with Longxing Society?" Su Yun smiled bitterly. "If this Xu Gongqi is the president of the Longxing Society, I'm afraid I already know why this person is looking for Ji Feng." Su Yun told Wu Yuandong about what Xu Gongqi's son, Xu Chili, did in school. Wu Yuandong was even more disgusted with Ji Feng's despicable actions. Who would have thought that this fellow would use the young mistress's reputation to swindle money outside? It seemed that Ji Feng had really put in a lot of effort to raise money for the firearms. Wu Yuandong could no longer tolerate his wild ambitions. "Since that's the case, I'm afraid there's no need for us to wait any longer," Su Yun said. "Let's go back, wash up, and sleep." Wu Yuandong nodded. Since the other party was looking for trouble with Ji Feng because of this matter, there was no meaning and value in waiting any longer. Ji Feng, when will you be willing to reveal your foxtail?" Wu Yuandong really hoped that this day wouldn't come too late. Just as the two of them were about to leave secretly, a black Toyota Cessna high-end business car stopped at the entrance of the tea house. This instantly attracted Su Yun's attention. Su Yun signaled Wu Yuandong to wait for a moment and not leave in a hurry. This was because Ji Feng's subordinate, who was assigned to guard the door, walked forward and said to the person in the car, "Mr. Oshima, please wait for a moment. Brother Feng has something to deal with and will come down immediately." Fortunately, Su Yun had learned some lip reading. Otherwise, he would have missed a good show. Mr. Oshima. This surname was probably too gay to have. It was obviously a Japanese name. In such a sensitive period, there was actually someone with a Japanese surname who came to the tea house to pick up Ji Feng. Perhaps Ji Feng really needed to explain. Wu Yuandong knew that Su Yun must have found something, so he focused his attention on the black Toyota Cessna. "There's a Japanese inside," Su Yun said lightly. Wu Yuandong was stunned. He wanted to ask Su Yun why he was so sure. However, when he remembered that Su Yun knew lip reading, he quickly understood. It seemed that his stalking for the past few days was not in vain. Today, he finally seized the opportunity. Wu Yuandong felt that the following time was very long. After about 20 minutes, Ji Feng came out of the tea house and calmly got into the black Toyota Cessna. The black Cessna quickly left the tea house. One of Ji Feng's trusted subordinates got into the driver's seat of Ji Feng's Mercedes-Benz off-road and followed closely behind the Toyota business car. Su Yun knew that this was just the beginning of the show. Wu Yuandong drove far behind the two cars. He was extremely careful, because if Ji Feng were to find out now, the matter would be exposed, which would be quite dangerous for them. Before he had concrete evidence, before he gained the trust and help of Miss Ji, Wu Yuandong absolutely could not touch Ji Feng's sensitive spot. The car took more than a dozen turns on the city streets before arriving at the destination. It was a very famous Japanese restaurant in Taiwan. Putting aside the hatred for Japanese invasion in the past, Su Yun still recognized Japanese cuisine. Japanese cuisine should also be recognized by the world as a meticulous cuisine. The greatest mystery of Japanese cuisine was that it could build a bridge between ingredients and nature. With meticulous cooking, people who enjoyed delicious food would always be able to taste the most authentic natural delicacies in Japanese cuisine. Su Yun had a good impression of delicacies like the miso pan-fried salmon and cuttlefish with fresh shrimp. However, Now was definitely not the time to eat. Wu Yuandong parked the car in the distance and began to take pictures with his SLR camera. The scene of Ji Feng walking into the Japanese restaurant with a few Japanese was recorded by him. But after Ji Feng and the few Japanese entered the restaurant, Wu Yuandong could not do anything. He could not follow them in. He doesn't know me. I can go in, Su Yun suddenly said. Wu Yuandong was enlightened. That's right. Su Yun's advantage in coming here was that he was unfamiliar with the place. Su Yun also admitted generously. This restaurant looks good. I really want to try the food here. This is definitely one of the top Japanese restaurants in Taiwan. Wu Yuandong said. You must be careful when you go there. Don't arouse suspicion. You know how to read lips. You can stay away from them. Su Yun shook his head. The further I stay away from them, the more they will suspect me. People always feel that those who are afraid of you will not dare to get close to you. Isn't that right? Su Yun did not care if Wu Yuandong could understand him. He strode towards the restaurant. At the door, 2 Japanese girls wearing kimonos said in fluent Japanese. Kongbangdu, good evening. Damn, Su Yun froze for a moment. Could it be that he looked so much like a Japanese? At this time, he accidentally noticed a signboard at the door. There was a line of words written in Chinese. Today is our celebration. Only Japanese customers. Thank you for your patronage. F*CK, this is China's territory, and you're only receiving Japanese guests? I will make a signboard that says Japanese and dogs are not allowed to enter later. Oh, okay. The 2 Japanese girls in kimonos smiled. After saying that, Su Yun walked into the Japanese restaurant with his head held high and his chest puffed out. Luckily, I can speak a few sentences in Japanese. Otherwise, I would have embarrassed myself. When Su Yun entered the restaurant, a waiter immediately came forward. What made Su Yun unable to believe was that this Japanese restaurant was 2F*King authentic. Even the waiter was a Japanese. He asked him what he wanted to order in Japanese. Su Yun could only reply with his passable Japanese. He ordered salmon sashimi, Arctic scallop sashimi, caviar sushi, octopus sausage, fried tofu with mojito, white scallop boiled in wine and butter, king crab leg. In any case, he ordered whatever he wanted to eat. He did not care if it was cheap or expensive. Anyway, Su Yun did not plan to pay. It was a Japanese restaurant opened by a Japanese in Huaxia. He did not even treat a Huaxia employee. It did not help Huaxia relieve the employment pressure of today's society. So what if he ate a free meal? He was already being very polite by not smashing the restaurant. As expected, Su Yun didn't disappoint Wu Yuandong. He sat at the table next to Ji Feng and the Japanese man called Oshima. Ji Feng looked at Su Yun with some vigilance. Su Yun smiled in a friendly manner and said in a very friendly manner, Kongbang Diao. Kongbang Diao. Ji Feng thought that Su Yun was a Japanese, so he could only reply with a smile. The Japanese man, Ichiro Oshima, who was sitting next to Ji Feng, smiled. He seemed to have seen through Ji Feng's worries and said in Chinese, Ji Fengkun, I brought you to this Japanese restaurant because the people here are all Japanese. Not many of them can understand Chinese. You can communicate with me without any worries. Ji Feng laughed dryly. Obviously, this was not enough to make him feel at ease. Japanese and Huaxia were both Asians. Other than height, it was difficult to tell them apart. However, this did not mean that all the Japanese were Japanese, nor did it mean that all the tall people were Huaxia. This was because Su Yun, who was sitting next to Ji Feng, was not a Japanese. Although Su Yun heard everything, he acted as if nothing had happened. It was as if he was just a Japanese looking forward to good food, hoping to use good food to express his longing for his hometown. Today was the restaurant celebration, and there was even a 50% discount. No wonder the boss only allowed the Japanese to come. It turned out that he could not bear to see Huaxia people taking advantage of him. Soon, the food that Su Yun ordered was served on the table. In order to make his performance more realistic, Su Yun deliberately exclaimed before eating, "Damn Takanishi, awesome." Ji Feng was shocked by his exclamation, and he could not help but look at Su Yun again. "Damn Mimisen, sorry." Su Yun nodded apologetically. Now, Ji Feng basically believed that Su Yun was a Japanese. From his expression, it was obvious that he did not suspect that Su Yun was a Hua Xia person. How could a Hua Xia person speak Japanese so fluently? Su Yun originally did not have any resistance to Japanese food. When he saw the food on the table, he naturally began to eat. He did not have the slightest intention to care about the people around him. Ji Feng's heart also began to slowly relax. He finally opened his mouth and said to Oshima Ichiro, "Mr. Oshima, although this place is full of Japanese and is indeed safe, is there no single room? I don't feel comfortable doing this in public." "Ji Feng-kun, I'm really sorry. The boss of this restaurant is my friend. Because the space in the restaurant is limited and there are so many customers here every day, he really can't set up a single room." "Ha ha ha, but don't worry. Today is the celebration of the restaurant, and everyone here is Japanese. If you speak Chinese, they won't understand. It's no different from a single room." Chapter 670. Ichiro Oshima did not seem to care about the people around him. He asked calmly, "I know that Ji Feng-kun has always been a punctual person. Why did you ask me to wait at the entrance of the tea house today? Did something happen in the tea house that made Ji Feng-kun unhappy? If there's anything I can help with, please don't hesitate to tell me." Ji Feng shook his head. "There's no need to trouble yourself. Thank you for your concern, Mr. Oshima." There was indeed a small incident in the tea house. The leader of a small underworld gang actually came to negotiate with me, and said a bunch of inexplicable things. He said that I had arranged people to try to kill his son this afternoon. Humph, what a joke. I hate dealing with people with mental problems the most, so I dealt with him. "Ji Feng-kun, it's not a good thing to be addicted to killing," Ichiro Oshima said. "However, for people with authority, it's nothing. Ha ha ha, if you can become the #1 person on Taiwan Island, if you can control everything on Taiwan Island, no matter what you do, absolutely no one will dare to say anything. But now, you seem to have to look at President Lin's face when doing things. There are things that you don't dare to let President Lin know about. This must be very unpleasant, right? I understand how you feel, but it's okay. I came to Taiwan Island to help you solve this problem." Ji Feng did have some lingering fear after Ichiro Oshima revealed their secret plan so straightforwardly. He looked around nervously again and lowered his voice. "Mr. Oshima, no matter how sure you are that the people in this restaurant are Japanese, I still hope that you can keep a low profile. You don't have to make a big deal out of it and let the whole world know about it." Ichiro Oshima shook his head indifferently. "Ji Feng-kun, it seems that you still don't believe me. I can guarantee you that if there was really a Hua Xia in the restaurant today and he eavesdropped on our conversation, I will definitely make him die a horrible death. I will not give him any chance to breathe or beg for mercy." When Su Yun heard this, he had goosebumps all over his body. This damn Ichiro Oshima seemed to be insinuating something deliberately for Su Yun to hear. Could it be that he had already discovered that Su Yun was not from Japan? Impossible. Su Yun felt that his acting was very convincing. After entering the restaurant, he spoke in Japanese. If he had known that this would arouse suspicion, Su Yun would have invited a Japanese who kept saying, "Yam ate," to eat with him. In this way, Oshima Ichiro would not be suspicious. What a mistake, what a mistake. "Mr. Oshima, I know that you are very confident, and I believe in you. It's just that I really don't feel safe." Ji Feng said, "I think we should talk about something else." Ichiro Oshima smiled. "Since Ji Feng-kun is so worried, I can only deal with the trouble around you first." The moment Oshima Ichiro's voice fell, Su Yun was ready to defend himself. He really didn't expect Oshima Ichiro to discover him so quickly. This damn Japanese devil seemed to be more difficult to deal with than he had imagined. However, just as Oshima Ichiro's voice fell, 6 Japanese people in the restaurant suddenly stood up and quickly surrounded a short-haired customer in the corner of the restaurant. This sudden incident made everyone in the restaurant nervous. The customer in the corner of the restaurant also stood up and asked in Japanese, "What are you doing?" "Why, sir, you don't have to pretend anymore." Ichiro Oshima stood up, smiled, and said in choppy Chinese, "Believe me, your Japanese is just as choppy as the Chinese you are listening to me speak now. Do you still need me to say more?" Ji Feng also looked over nervously. He didn't expect there to be danger in the restaurant. He believed Oshima Ichiro's words. The person in the corner must be from Huaxia. The customer sitting in the corner didn't explain anymore, and he stopped speaking in choppy Japanese. "I'm sorry, I'm not from Japan, but I really like this restaurant. I believe that I will be able to eat the most authentic Japanese cuisine during the restaurant's celebration. But today, they don't serve Huaxia customers, so I disguised myself as a Japanese to come in. I'm just here for the food. Sir, if you weren't a police officer, maybe I would believe you. But unfortunately, you are a police officer." "I can't believe a police officer's words," Oshima Ichiro said. "If I'm not wrong, your police ID is in the inner left pocket of your shirt. When you took out your phone just now, you exposed your identity." That person could no longer sit still. When everything was exposed, he put away his smile and said sternly with a cold face, "Since you say so, then I can only admit it. Yes, I'm a police officer. You better cooperate with me. Everyone, stand up and put your hands behind your head. Mr. Policeman, you've overestimated your ability. Although my men can understand simple Chinese, they don't know how to cooperate with you." After Oshima Ichiro finished speaking, he sat down and continued to eat with Ji Feng as if nothing had happened. However, Oshima Ichiro's 6 men rushed forward and flipped the police officer over. They skillfully tied the police officer up and directly brought him out of the restaurant's back door. "Ji Feng-kun, you can rest assured now." Oshima Ichiro smiled slightly. Ji Feng frowned. "Mr. Oshima, since you already knew that person was a police officer, why did you wait until now? Wouldn't it be very dangerous if I were to carelessly say something unfavorable to us?" Oshima Ichiro said casually, "Because I'm confident that everything in this restaurant is under my control. That's why I'm not afraid of anything happening, or anyone sneaking in. I'm showing you my ability and letting you know that cooperating with me is definitely the right thing to do. As long as you cooperate with me, the Sanlian Association will definitely be yours in the near future. Taiwan Island will also be under your control." Ji Feng was silent. Although this Japanese didn't seem trustworthy, he had no way out. He had to cooperate with them. Only by cooperating with them could he have a chance to get everything he wanted. "Ji Feng-kun, you know very well what we want, and we know very well what you want. We're just taking what we need." Oshima Ichiro smiled slightly. "What we want is a list of names and the historical evidence of Turtle Island in the hands of the president. What you want is status and power." Ji Feng took a deep breath. "But I don't have the firearms in my hands right now. Why do you believe in my strength and ability? Indeed, I was the one who suggested that you get the firearms. In fact, those firearms are nothing. The great Japanese Empire can give you 10 or even 100 times more," Oshima Ichiro said. "We let you settle it yourself because we want to see how capable the person we value is," Oshima Ichiro said. "As you wish. If I don't have the ability to settle this matter, why do you still believe in me?" Ji Feng sneered. Oshima Ichiro naturally couldn't tell the truth because Ji Feng was already the most capable person who was willing to work for them. "There's a problem with the firearms. I've already arranged for someone to investigate. This matter can't be blamed on Ji Feng-kun at all. It's a special incident caused by the firearms middleman in Huaxia not keeping his word. This is unpredictable." "Mr. Oshima, do you know what I'm feeling right now?" Ji Feng asked. Oshima Ichiro nodded. "The feeling of being played. Seems like you know very well." Ji Feng snorted heavily. "Do you know how many brothers I've lost because of your test? To be honest, I'm running out of patience to cooperate with you. It's been more than 3 years, and you've been the one who's been arranging things for me. Have I gotten any benefits? I'm still just a hall master. Oshima Ichiro smiled apologetically. Ji Fengkuan, it's not that we don't want to help you, but we have our own difficulties. Firstly, President Lin's influence on Great Bend Island is deeply rooted. We can't do anything to him. Secondly, if you don't show some sincerity, will you still cooperate with us once we help you become the new president? Will you still be able to help us fight for Turtle Island? Maybe you'll be like President Lin and become the president of some protection fishing association and go against us. I don't have that much free time, Ji Feng said. Turtle Island has nothing to do with me. I want the Three Lotus Club, I want Great Bend Island. So, you have to help us, then we'll help you. Oshima Ichiro said. You help us get what we want, and we help you get what you want. This is a fair deal. It's very fair to all of us. Ji Feng was consumed by his ambition. He would not consider the interests of the country. His mind was filled with only his own interests. Everything was for his own interests. You want a list? A list of all the leaders of the Protection Fishing Association? Ji Feng said calmly, the president does have this thing. I know that you want to assassinate all of them after getting it. But have you thought about it? There are so many people in China. Even if you assassinate this group of people, there will be more who will stand up, or even more who will stand up. In addition, the president also has historical evidence of Turtle Island. But do you think you can really erase history after destroying it? Mr. Oshima, you're thinking too simply. Oshima Ichiro wasn't angry at all. That's true, but what if we keep doing this? If someone stands up, we'll kill them. If someone shows evidence, we'll erase it. Sooner or later, things will turn out the way we think. Of course, history won't change overnight. We're ready for a long battle. Ji Feng now understood that Oshima Ichiro's goal was not so simple. If he became the president of the Three Lotus Society, he would become the #1 person in Taiwan Island. Then, Oshima Ichiro and his group of Japanese would be able to do what they wanted to do even more arrogantly. They could slowly erase history bit by bit and kill everyone who tried to find the truth for history. This way, they would be able to get what they wanted. What a far-sighted plan. Ji Feng couldn't help but admire Oshima Ichiro. He was the most patient fox he had ever met. Su Yun, who was sitting at the side, kept eating. He vented all the anger in his heart on these delicacies. If he didn't do this, Su Yun was afraid that he wouldn't be able to control himself and choke this old Japanese bastard to death. But he knew that he couldn't do that. If he did, he would be alerting the enemy. And Oshima Ichiro wasn't necessarily the real leader of this plan. Chapter 671. Ji Feng did not speak for a long time. However, his silent contemplation did not seem to restore his conscience and humanity. In the end, Ji Feng opened his mouth and gave Oshima Ichiro a decent answer. What you want me to do may seem simple, but it is not easy at all. Give me some time to consider and plan. Of course. I know very well that President Lin values the history of the Protection Fishing Association and Turtle Island very much. Naturally, I know the difficulty of this matter. Oshima Ichiro continued, we've waited for 3 years, so we don't mind waiting a little longer. And I believe that Ji Fengkuan won't make me wait too long. You can't wait to become the president of the Three Lotus Society, right? Haha, believe me, I'll definitely assist you. By then, not only will you be the president of the Three Lotus Society and the #1 person on Taiwan Island, but you'll also get Lin Suin. As long as you're willing to cooperate with us, you'll eventually win the heart of the beauty. Ji Feng picked up the cup of sake and drank it in one gulp. Mr. Oshima, I hope you can remember the promise you made to me today. I've always done my best for you. You know this very well. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. Ji Fengkuan, there are so many authentic Japanese delicacies. Are you in a hurry to leave? Oshima Ichiro asked. Ji Feng shook his head. Thank you for your hospitality, Mr. Oshima, but I really have no interest in Japanese delicacies. Right now, I'm only interested in the things that Mr. Oshima wants. Goodbye. Oshima Ichiro picked up a piece of salmon sashimi as he watched Ji Feng turn to leave. He smiled and whispered to himself, I'm afraid your interest is in the power you want. You don't even know how to enjoy such wonderful food. An ordinary person will always be an ordinary person. You have no taste at all. After Ichiro Oshima finished speaking, he suddenly turned around and looked at Su Yun. Su Yun raised his head and looked at Oshima Ichiro. He smiled and said in Japanese, If you can't finish it, you can invite me to join you. I really miss the taste of my hometown. Yes, this is the taste of home. Oshima Ichiro smiled and said, Usually, when Huaxia people eat, our chefs in the Japanese Empire don't use the freshest ingredients because they can't tell. Most of them come to eat Japanese food to improve their taste, but they don't know that they are just a bunch of fools. Ha 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 ha. Stupid your sister. Su Yun cursed in his heart with a smile on his face. Ichiro Oshima did not know how to read minds. Instead, he invited him warmly, Sir, you and I are fated to meet today. We share the same passion for Japanese cuisine. Why don't we be friends and enjoy the delicious food together? I am Ichiro Oshima. I am Katutaka. Su Yun casually made up a name. So powerful? Ha ha ha, he has the same name as Mr. Kato, the golden finger of Japan. I'm really lucky. Oshima Ichiro said in surprise. Outside the Japanese restaurant, Wu Yuandong was patiently waiting for Su Yun. However, Su Yun did not come out. Instead, Ji Feng walked out of the restaurant first. He got into the car driven by his subordinate and left in a hurry. Wu Yuandong looked at the car that was driving away. He was even more worried about Su Yun's safety. Wu Yuandong waited patiently for more than half an hour. He saw Su Yun walking out of the restaurant happily with a few Japanese people. After the Japanese people got into the car and left, he drove the car to Su Yun. Su Yun quickly got into the car. Wu Yuandong quickly took him away from this troublesome place and asked, Why did you come out with those Japanese people? God knows what's wrong with that Ichiro Oshima. He insisted on being friends with me. Su Yun shrugged helplessly. Then, he told Wu Yuandong everything he heard and saw in the Japanese restaurant. Wu Yuandong was very surprised. This group of Japanese dogs conspiracy was really scary. If Ji Feng really became their puppet, wouldn't that mean that the president and all the patriotic people who were too gay would be in danger? No matter what, Ji Feng was a core member of the Three Lotus Society. He knew too much. Looks like we don't have much time. We have to stop all of this before Ji Feng does anything irrational. Wu Yuandong's head was about to explode. Although he knew everything, the president would definitely not believe him if he told him without any evidence. Instead, he would even disturb Ji Feng. Now, Wu Yuandong could only place all his hopes on Su Yun. Only when Su Yun gained the trust of the young mistress would she believe them. This was the only chance to convince the president. Brother Su Yun, do you have any new plans regarding the young mistress? Brother Dong, I know what you want to say. Su Yun smiled helplessly. Don't worry, I'll do my best to gain the trust of your young mistress. It's just that she tricked me and stood me up yesterday. Today, she wants to trick me again and continue to stand me up. I'm a little helpless. Let me think of something when I go to school tomorrow. All plans can't keep up with changes. I'd better improvise. Of course, Wu Yuandong knew that the young mistress was not easy to win over. It would definitely be difficult. Su Yun had already promised him that he would do his best. He did not want to force him. The only thing he could do was to wait quietly and continue to monitor Ji Feng's whereabouts. If Ji Feng wanted to do something extreme, he would definitely stop him even if it meant risking his life. Su Yun, you stood me up. This was the first sentence Su Yun heard when he came to the economics class of Taiwan University this afternoon. Lin Suin looked very angry. Do you know that I waited for you at the entrance of the female dormitory for half an hour? You didn't even show your face. Soo-yoon also looked at Lin Soo-in with a surprised face. He never thought that Lin Soo-in would keep her promise and wait for him at the entrance of the female dormitory. But from Lin Soo-in's expression, she was definitely not lying. What was going on? Soo-yoon was really confused. Didn't Woo Yuan-dong say that the young mistress could not live on campus? Where did she get a dormitory? Also, why didn't you come to the class this morning? Do you know that I waited for you the whole morning? Lin Soo-in had never waited for anyone since she was young. It was always others who waited for her. But this guy who she had only known for 3 days actually made her wait for so long. Soo-yoon scratched his head. I slept a little late last night. I didn't wake up this morning. Anyway, Soo-yoon got the timetable and knew that he would see Lin Soo-in in the afternoon. So, he did not rush to school after waking up late. What's wrong? Did you have too much fun at the nightclub last night? Did you hook up with a lot of girls? Lin Soo-in sneered. If that's the case, you might as well never come to school. Anyway, you are not a proper student. What is your purpose of coming to school? If I say that my purpose is to get close to you, would you believe me? Soo-yoon asked. If you said this yesterday, I would definitely believe you. Of course, I would believe you. Lin Soo-in said, but I don't believe you today. Because if your purpose is to get close to me, you wouldn't have stood me up. Soo-yoon was really wronged. I swear that I did not mean to stand you up. If I knew that you were serious and not joking with me yesterday, I would definitely look for you. But how can I believe you? You asked me to wait for you at the entrance of the coffee shop and I waited for the whole afternoon. Now, you asked me to wait for you at the entrance of the female dormitory. Of course, I am afraid that you will make me wait for you for the whole night. Lin Soo-in knew that she was in the wrong. The day before yesterday, she did make Soo-yoon wait for her for the whole afternoon. So, she wasn't so angry anymore. Okay, then we are even. You waited for me the day before yesterday, and I waited for you yesterday. We don't owe each other anything. Miss Lin, you waited for me for half an hour, but I waited for you for half a day. Soo-yoon shrugged his shoulders. Is this even? Lin Soo-in rolled her eyes at Soo-yoon. The nature is the same. Moreover, you are a guy, and I am a girl. If we are talking about the degree of viciousness, you are worse than me. What kind of society are we in now? Men and women are equal, okay? Soo-yoon said. Wait a minute. Lin Soo-in suddenly thought of something and stared at Soo-yoon. What did you call me just now? Miss Lin. Soo-yoon changed the topic. Mia, right? Lin Soo-in stared at Soo-yoon alertly and whispered, Do you know my identity? Who are you? Soo-yoon's heart skipped a beat, but he still acted as if nothing happened. Please, who in Taiwan doesn't know that you are the champion of the Miss Taiwan contest? Lin Soo-in was relieved. You only know that I am the champion of the Miss Taiwan contest? What else do you know? I know a lot. Do you want me to tell you now? Soo-yoon's cynical smile had a kind of evil charm. Lin Soo-in said disdainfully, Do you think I will believe you? You think you know a lot. Okay, stop talking nonsense. You stood me up yesterday. How are you going to compensate me today? Yesterday, I helped you to get rid of that annoying fly. Isn't that enough compensation? Soo-yoon smiled slightly because Soo-yoon knew that Ji-fong must have dealt with Shu Chili's father last night. So, he was sure that no matter how bold Shu Chili was, he wouldn't have the guts to provoke Lin Soo-in again unless he wanted to die. Lin Soo-in was more or less surprised. What did you do to Shu Chili? If I say that I was kidnapped by Shu Chili and more than 30 thugs yesterday, you won't doubt it, right? Soo-yoon said. It's not like he hasn't done such things before. Lin Soo-in said, You won't tell me that you beat up all 30 of his men, right? Then he was scared? Soo-yoon shrugged his shoulders. You can think of it that way. I won't explain it to you. You can choose to believe it or not, but there is only one result. He won't continue to harass you. You just need to know this. Lin Suin was instantly filled with curiosity about Su Yun. This curiosity was much stronger than her curiosity about Su Yun before. I admit that this is indeed a good compensation. Then, I've decided to compensate for standing you up the day before yesterday. What do you want? Say it. Su Yun's mouth curved slightly. He knew that Lin Suin was definitely interested in him. This was the best opportunity he could seize. He had to seize it. This depends on your sincerity. You helped me solve such a big problem. Then, I'll treat you to the most famous oyster omelette in Taiwan. Then, I'll treat you to the most fun nightclub in Taiwan for a drink. How about that? Lin Suin said, "This is enough sincerity. Although it's not as big as the problem you helped me solve, it's the best compensation I can think of." Su Yun nodded. "No problem. Since you said it, of course, I won't refuse. Let's go to class first. The teacher is here. If we continue to talk like this, I'm afraid we'll eat chalk." Chapter 672. After school in the afternoon, Su Yun chose to believe Lin Suin and waited for her in front of the school's office building. This time, Lin Suin did not stand Su Yun up. Half an hour later, Lin Suin appeared in front of Su Yun in a Volkswagen Beetle that did not match her status at all. The car was very new and was obviously a custom-made model. Although the shape was similar to a normal Beetle, the various configurations were obviously much better. Moreover, there was an exclusive Mia logo on the door and the interior was definitely luxurious. If this car was driven by an ordinary girl, it would be eye-catching enough. However, if it was driven by the daughter of the Three Lotus Society's president, it would be too low-key. Even if Lin Suin drove a Bentley sports car, Su Yun would not be surprised at all. However, she was actually driving such an ordinary car. Su Yun really couldn't figure it out. The car is very cool. After Su Yun got in the car, he smiled. Of course, he would not say that this car did not match her status. That would expose everything that he knew about her. "Thank you. My dad gave it to me for my birthday." Lin Suin smiled. "Today is my birthday, but my dad has something important to discuss and can't accompany me." "Then your dad must be very rich to give you such a beautiful car." Su Yun smiled slightly. Lin Suin smiled even more happily. "What if I told you that he gave me a Bentley sports car last year, but I didn't drive it because I thought it was too high profile. Therefore, he gave me a Beetle this year to satisfy my needs more by being low-key. Would you believe me?" Su Yun shrugged his shoulders. "Of course I would believe you. This Beetle is obviously custom-made. The price is probably more than double the price of the ordinary models on the market. You know quite a lot about cars." Lin Suin saw that Su Yun was an expert, so she did not continue the topic. "Don't tell me you think that my compensation to you is just treating you to oyster omelette, pan-fried buns, and then to a nightclub for drinks." "What else?" Su Yun asked curiously. Lin Suin smiled. "I'm inviting you to be my birthday guest. Not everyone can accompany me to eat oyster omelette on my birthday. In the past, my parents and I would always go to some place to eat oyster omelette on my birthday. I especially like the oyster omelette there. Aha, and your father is very busy today, so he doesn't have time to accompany you. Then you, may I ask, where's your mother?" Su Yun asked. Lin Suin shook her head helplessly. "Ever since my father became obsessed with a particularly meaningful thing, he often had to do things with those like-minded people, and then neglected to take care of his family. So my mother divorced him and then went to Hawaii. She said that she would only consider remarrying him if my father could stop meddling in other people's business." "What is it that your father is obsessed with? From what you said, you should be supporting your father, right?" Su Yun asked. Lin Suin smiled mysteriously. "It's a big matter that concerns the interests of the country. Do you think it's meaningful?" "Of course it's meaningful. Let me guess. Is it the Fishing Protection Organization?" Su Yun said. He now had a good impression of Lin Suin, and he was more and more impressed with President Lin. Lin Suin was surprised for a moment, then she smiled faintly. She didn't admit nor deny. Fasten your seatbelt. Let's go. The oyster omelette is in Taiwan South. We will have to walk for a long time. Su Yun fastened his seatbelt and smiled in his heart. The children of rich families were really free and elegant. They were willing to waste 2 tanks of gas just to eat oyster omelette. This was really extravagant. Since he had promised to do it, he had to do it well. No matter how far it was, Su Yun wouldn't say much. Moreover, the oyster omelette in Taiwan South was much better than the oyster omelette that Wu Yuandong brought Su Yun to eat in Taiwan North. Lin Suyin seemed to be very happy when she ate the oyster omelette in this restaurant on her birthday. Su Yun knew that Lin Suyin didn't come here because she had to eat the oyster omelette. It wasn't because the oyster omelette in this restaurant was so delicious. No matter how delicious it was just 1 serving of oyster omelette. Lin Suyin wanted to find the happiness of the past. The happiness of eating oyster omelette with the whole family in this restaurant. That was all. After eating the oyster omelette, Lin Suyin was in a good mood. Let's drink until we're drunk tonight, okay? As long as you can drink, I'm happy to accompany you, Su Yun said. Where is the best cattail store in Taiwan South? No, go back to Taiwan North. After Lin Suyin returned to the car, she turned up the volume to the maximum. This girl who looked absolutely elegant on the surface revealed a crazy and wild side. Su Yun felt very lucky because he dared to say that Lin Suyin's wild side would never be shown in front of anyone. Lin Suyin could show this side of her in front of Su Yun, which showed her trust in Su Yun. Although Su Yun was just a stranger that she had known for 3 days and they didn't know much about each other, Lin Suyin's 6th sense told her that Su Yun was a good person. On the first day they met, Su Yun taught Shu Qili a lesson without fear of power. Lin Suyin had a very good first impression of Su Yun. Although she did deliberately play with Su Yun on the date in the coffee shop, it was also a sign that she wanted to know and understand Su Yun. If a girl wasn't interested in you, she would never be bored enough to play with you. If a girl had the time and the mood to play with you, don't be angry. Maybe she was interested in you and wanted to attract more attention from you, so she did something boring. So, don't lose patience and friendliness with a girl because she did something to you that made you crazy. Su Yun could definitely tell everyone with the identity of an experienced person that maybe this was the time for the girl to open her heart to you. CAZ, Taiwan's largest and most luxurious nightclub. This should also be the biggest nightclub Su Yun had ever seen. The violent music inside seemed to vent the inner fanaticism of all the young people here. Maybe a lot of things brought too much pressure to the young people, so they urgently needed such a place to vent their pressure. This was the reason why nightclubs were so popular in any city and any place. Of course, in the eyes of most people, nightclubs weren't a place where good boys and girls should go. It was indeed a paradise for bad boys. Many people with ulterior motives would come to nightclubs with the mentality of hunting for beauties. In the eyes of these people, girls who came to nightclubs were the best targets because they came out to have fun. The strong rhythm of the music and the unpredictable lighting made the young people on the dance floor twist their bodies to their heart's content. Although Lin Suyin wanted to prove that it wasn't her first time in such a place, Su Yun could still see from some of her subtle expressions that she was definitely not a girl who liked to hang out in nightclubs. She didn't have the naturalness of those crazy girls. Her unfamiliarity with such an environment couldn't be concealed. After dancing and drinking, because the music was too loud and the environment was too chaotic, Su Yun tentatively asked loudly, "Mia, it's late. Should we go? If you go home too late, your father will be worried. He doesn't have time to care about me now." Lin Suyin also replied loudly, "And I don't plan to go home today. Just send me back to the dormitory. If you have something to do, you can go first. I won't hold you up." Su Yun helplessly shrugged his shoulders. "Then I'll accompany you." As the night got darker, the atmosphere in the club became more and more lively. As more and more alcohol was drunk, Lin Suyin became more and more relaxed. She went from being cautious at the beginning to being completely relaxed now. Su Yun saw it all. Any normal person would want to celebrate their birthday with their family. Lin Suyin came here to let herself not think so much. Since she was happy, Why wouldn't Su Yun be happy with her? Of course, there were naturally people with ulterior motives who paid attention to Lin Suin. However, Su Yun secretly helped her to solve these small problems. After all, there was really no one here who could withstand Su Yun's black hand. Su Yun wouldn't allow anyone to disturb Lin Suin's current mood. The two of them played in the club until 1 o'clock in the morning. Lin Suin was finally tired. The alcohol also numbed her brain and she began to be in a trance. After walking out of the club, Lin Suin only felt that her eyes were a little dark. The fatigue and sleepiness made it difficult for her to support her body. She used the last of her strength to say to Su Yun, "Send me back to the dormitory, 3rd floor, room 3030. You really have a dormitory?" Su Yun said helplessly, "If you go back at this time, aren't you afraid that your roommate will mind? I think I'd better send you home." Lin Suin shook her head hard. "I have a single dormitory. I don't have a roommate. I don't want to go home. If I go home, my father will definitely see that I drank. I want to go back to the dormitory. Moreover, don't you want to write a book about the days of spending the night in the female dormitory? This is an opportunity to provide you with material and experience." "You drank too much." Su Yun shook his head helplessly. Lin Suin really drank too much. Su Yun drove all the way back to the university with Lin Suin. He was a little helpless. Let alone the dormitory, they couldn't even enter the university gate. Which university would allow students who drank too much to enter and leave at 1 o'clock in the morning? If there wasn't even such a basic discipline, wouldn't the university be in a mess? Su Yun wanted to ask Lin Suin's opinion again. He wanted her to tell him where her house was so that he could send her home. However, he was helpless. Lin Suin was now completely asleep. Su Yun tried all kinds of ways to wake her up. He even blew air into Lin Suin's ears. However, Lin Suin's biggest reaction was only a murmur and a slight twist of her body. "We agreed to eat oyster omelette and soak in the club. We didn't say that I wanted to spend the night with you." Su Yun smiled helplessly. "It's not that I want to bring you to the hotel to get a room. It's that you really don't want to wake up." Fortunately, the hotel that Su Yun found had a lot of empty rooms. Of course, he wouldn't just get a room and pretend to be Lu Xiaohui. After getting 2 rooms, Su Yun brought Lin Suin to one of the rooms. He helped her take off her shoes and covered her with a quilt. "You sleep well. When you wake up tomorrow morning, you must remember what happened tonight." "I didn't do anything." Chapter 673. Hearing the way this person addressed Lin Suin, Su Yun felt a lot more relieved. At the very least, it meant that these people were from the Three Lotus Association and not some random people. Lin Suin's safety could be guaranteed. However, Su Yun did not think about himself. These people were loyal to Lin Suin, but they did not trust him at all. "I'm relieved that you're here. Take her home." "I should be leaving too," Su Yun said. However, how could the Three Lotus gang let Su Yun go so easily? In their eyes, Su Yun was someone who dared to bring their young miss to a hotel room. He was a heinous bastard. "If you think you can leave now, then try." The leader of the bodyguards sneered. "I advise you not to force us to make a move." It was not difficult for Su Yun to feel that these guys were all experts, and their strength was not bad. Of course, it was not that Su Yun did not have a way to leave. If he wanted to avoid the 3 pistols at the same time and leave unscathed, Su Yun would have to kill them. But if he really did that now, he was afraid that the trouble would be even bigger. Not only would he not be able to explain to Lin Suin, but he would also offend the Three Lotus Association at the same time. That kind of result would obviously go against Wu Yuandong's purpose and original intention of bringing him to Great Bend Island. Since Su Yun wanted to gain Lin Suin's trust, and also wanted to help Wu Yuandong solve the Three Lotus Society's problem, he definitely couldn't put himself on the Three Lotus Society's list of enemies. If he did, he would cause Wu Yuandong to lose his trust in the Three Lotus Society, and everything would be more beneficial to Ji Feng. This was definitely not the result that Su Yun and Wu Yuandong wanted. After understanding the current situation, Su Yun cooperatively raised his hands. He used the most sincere attitude he could muster. I can assure you that this is a misunderstanding. I have no intention of harming your young mistress. I have another room card in my pocket. If you don't believe me, you can take it out and take a look. If I was the kind of person who wanted to take advantage of your young mistress, why would I book 2 rooms? Don't play tricks. Put your hands behind your back and turn around, one of the gunmen shouted. After Su Yun turned around with his hands behind his back, he took out a pair of handcuffs and handcuffed Su Yun without hesitation. Su Yun felt rather helpless. The Three Lotus Association was actually equipped with handcuffs, making them look like the police. Su Yun had a feeling that this treatment and this scene was indeed like the police arresting a rapist. The leader of the bodyguards in black was still trying to wake Lin Suin up. However, no matter how hard he tried, Lin Suin showed no signs of waking up. Don't waste your energy. Anyone who drinks a whole bottle of tequila when they're 70 to 80% drunk will probably pass out. Su Yun said, if you wanted to stop it, you should have stopped it at the nightclub. The leader was stunned for a moment. Then, he quickly got up and said, it seems you have a good memory. What's the use of having a good memory? I'm still not smart enough. If I was smarter, I would have figured out your identities back then. Su Yun smiled bitterly. Then, I wouldn't have gotten into this mess. If you have anything to say, come back with us and think about it. The leader ordered, take him away. Not only were Su Yun's hands cuffed, a black paper bag was also placed over his head. Along the way, he could only rely on his senses to sense the path of the car. Unfortunately, Su Yun was not familiar with Great Bend Island. He had no idea where he was being taken to. However, he was certain that the driver had taken a detour. The car finally came to a stop. The moment Su Yun was taken out of the car, he suddenly felt a strong electric shock. His brain quickly went numb and he fell to the ground with a plop. This was definitely not something that could be joked about. When Su Yun woke up from the electric shock, it was unknown how much time had passed. That super strong electric shock baton was obviously prepared for an expert. Furthermore, the person who had used it was very clear where the electric shock would cause instant paralysis without hurting the brain. The surroundings were very dark and there were no windows in the room. Only the floor lamp in the corner emitted a weak light. This was a basement. Thus, Su Yun was unable to determine the time. However, based on the strength of the electric shock and the degree of numbness of his wrists, he had been unconscious for at least 5 to 6 hours. If Su Yun's deduction was correct, it should be the morning of the next day. Seeing Su Yun wake up, the person sitting opposite him yawned. You slept well. Have you thought about how to explain it? The chairman will be coming to ask you personally. If yesterday's matter was really a misunderstanding, you have to think about how to explain it. The chairman has a bad temper and does not have the patience to listen to nonsense. Thank you for your reminder. Su Yun smiled. If the chairman can eat with me at the breakfast table, I think I can explain it more clearly. The sound of the iron door being pushed open was heavy and dull. A tall middle-aged man walked in with strong steps. The person who was talking to Su Yun immediately stood up and respectfully said, "Hello, Chairman." Su Yun looked at the middle-aged man walking towards him through the weak light in the basement. No wonder Lin Suin was so handsome. It turned out that the famous Chairman Lin was actually a handsome old man. This was too different from the bald middle-aged senator that Su Yun imagined. The breakfast you want is not available. However, the explanation I want to hear, you have to say it. Lin Si-hi. There was probably no one on Taiwan Island who did not know his name. This name had contributed a lot to Taiwan Island over the years. Not to mention the ordinary citizens, even the leaders of the various factions were 30% afraid and 70% respectful of him. Although Su Yun's hands were chained, he still smiled calmly and said in a calm voice, "Chairman Lin, is this how the Three Lotus Association treats its guests? It seems that you already know about my daughter's background. If that's the case, you have to explain it to me properly." Lin Si-hi said coldly, "What is your purpose?" I still have a lot of things to deal with today, so I don't have much patience. I hope you can give me a satisfactory answer before my patience runs out. If I say that my purpose is for the Three Lotus Association, would you believe me? Su-yun, since you have your subordinates tie me up like this, it means that no matter what I say, you won't believe me. Why do we need to waste our breath? Lin Si-hai had never seen a young man who dared to speak to him like this. Moreover, the other party was in such a situation, yet he still wanted to have a fair conversation. This was simply wishful thinking. His subordinates brought a chair over and placed it behind Lin Si-hai. Lin Si-hai slowly sat down. Young man, has anyone ever reminded you that you shouldn't be too proud? Excessive pride is arrogance. Someone really did tell me that. Su-yun smiled. Chairman Lin, yesterday was your daughter Lin Suin's birthday. Whether it was eating oysters in the southern part of Taiwan Island or getting drunk at the night puppy shop, it was Lin Suin's own choice. She chose to let me accompany her, which means that she trusts me. If you were a responsible father, I'm afraid that she wouldn't have chosen to let me accompany her to eat oysters. She also wouldn't have used alcohol to numb her desire for family after eating oysters. Lin Si-hai admitted that he was indeed shocked by this young man's words. He admitted that Su-yun's words had indeed pierced the weakest part of his heart. Release him. Lin Si-hai's order made his subordinates quite surprised. But, Chairman. His subordinates' hesitation obviously made Lin Si-hai very unhappy. Lin Si-hai's voice didn't allow anyone to question, "Are you the one who has the final say here, or am I the one who has the final say?" Several subordinates who were responsible for guarding Su-yun quickly came forward to unlock the iron handcuffs on his wrists for Su-yun. However, Su-yun released his hands from the iron handcuffs before they came to him. He rubbed his wrists and said, "Thank you, Chairman Lin. This is the way to treat a guest." Seeing that Su-yun easily released himself from the iron handcuffs, Lin Si-hai and his subordinates were obviously very surprised. Several subordinates looked nervous and quickly blocked Lin Si-hai behind them. "All of you, step back," Lin Si-hai said lightly. He was very clear that if this thing couldn't trap Su-yun, then the handcuffs last night were even more impossible to trap him. He chose to cooperate and come here, indicating that he was absolutely willing. Several subordinates obviously didn't have the intention to leave, but thinking of what Lin Si-hai had just said, they still obediently listened to the order. Su-yun moved his stiff joints and smiled at Lin Si-hai. "Chairman Lin, if we can sit at the breakfast table and talk, the effect will definitely be better." In any case, Lin Si-hai finally satisfied Su-yun's request. The table, chairs, breakfast, all were prepared by his subordinates. However, the breakfast location was still in this dark basement and not moved to another restaurant with birds and flowers. At the same time, Lin Suin was eating in the restaurant with birds and flowers. However, no matter how delicious the breakfast was, it couldn't hide her severe headache at this moment. She drank too much wine last night. She desperately tried to recall the last moment of her memory. She clearly asked Su-yun to send her back to school. But why did she appear in her own room at home? Sigh, this brain, when did it become blank? The family's nanny, Auntie Ping, served the hot soup that had just been cooked to Lin Suin. "Miss, you drank too much wine last night. It's not good for your body. Quickly drink some soup. This is specially made for you. It's especially good for the recovery of the body after drinking." "Thank you, Auntie Ping." Lin Suin smiled gratefully, but soon she was surprised. "Auntie Ping, how did you know I drank too much last night? How did I come back?" Auntie Ping said, "Of course, it was the chairman's men who brought you back. Otherwise, what else could we do? Didn't my dad promise me that he wouldn't arrange for anyone to follow me?" Lin Suin frowned. "If the chairman didn't arrange for someone to protect you, you would have been." Auntie Ping suddenly realized that she had said something wrong and hurriedly shut her mouth. Lin Suin was suddenly enlightened. Where was Su-yun? Last night, he was with her all the time. Since she went home now, what about him? "Auntie Ping, what happened? Quickly tell me." Lin Suin didn't have the mood to drink the soup. She hugged Auntie Ping's shoulder and said, "Where is Su-yun?" Was he caught by my dad's men? Where is he now? Where is my dad? Where is my dad now? Quickly tell me. Chapter 674. Su-yun drank the last mouthful of warm milk with a satisfied expression. He drank a lot last night and his stomach was already empty. In Taiwan, there aren't many people who can have breakfast with the president of the Three Lotus Association, right? Haha, I suddenly feel like I've gained a lot of face. President Lin, thank you for treating me to breakfast, and thank you for giving me face. Lin Si-hai smiled faintly. You're right. The people who can have breakfast with me on Taiwan Island can be counted on one hand. I will give you face because you fought for it yourself. No matter what your purpose is, no matter what your thoughts are, at least my daughter had a very happy birthday yesterday. Although I don't agree with letting her drink a lot of wine, I really haven't seen such a satisfied smile on her face for a long time. If it's just from this point of view, I really should thank you. President Lin, you're too serious. I just did what a friend should do. Su-yun said, it's not a heinous thing for young people to drink too much occasionally. At the very least, you should be glad that your daughter is definitely not an alcoholic. The reason why she got drunk like that was entirely because she doesn't usually drink. The more you say that, the more I should thank you, Lin Si-hai said. But I've already thanked you. Now I just want to think about how to deal with a guy who took my daughter to a hotel. Su-yun bitterly smiled. You can't blame me for this. I did say that I would send her home, but she didn't tell me the address. She said she didn't want to go home to be scolded by you. She wanted to go back to her dorm. But at 1 o'clock in the morning, the school doesn't let her in. I can't let her sleep in the car all night, can I? Lin Si-hai was silent for a while. So you're saying that I should thank you for taking my daughter to a hotel? There's really no need for that. I just did what I should do as a friend. Su-yun, President Lin, I've already eaten breakfast and said what I should say. If you're an open-minded person, you should have made the decision to let me go, right? What if things don't go your way and I'm not an open-minded person? What should I do then? President Lin stopped smiling. Su-yun shrugged his shoulders and did not speak. If Lin Si-hai was not an open-minded person, he would definitely want his life. No open-minded father would forgive a guy who took his hangover daughter to a hotel. Especially since his father held such a high position, his mentality was probably even more complicated. Suddenly, an army descended from the heavens. Lin Suin didn't care about the people behind her. She broke through the door and said, "Whether you are open-minded or not, you have no right to detain my friend." Behind Lin Suin, many of the Three Lotus Society's underlings said helplessly to Lin Si-hai, "President. Young mistress insisted on coming in." He fantasized that he could pursue you and then take over the Three Lotus Association. But I got close to you because I wanted to help a friend of mine. And this friend of mine used to be a member of the Three Lotus Association. Lin Suin's mind was a little messy. There was too much information in Su-yun's words. She had to figure it out one by one. How is Ji Feng related to Shu Qili? What nonsense are you talking about? If I didn't guess wrong, Ji Feng had always hoped that you would fall in love with him. But you didn't have that intention. He knew very well that ordinary boys were definitely not attractive to you. So, he took advantage of the Longxing Society and promised Shu Qili that he would definitely ignore his pursuit of you. Su-yun, Shu Qili doesn't dare to provoke you now, but it's definitely not because of me. I just used my brain a little and asked them to take the initiative to ask Ji Feng. Ji Feng will naturally solve all the problems. To be honest, Lin Suin didn't want to believe all of this. But now that she thought about it, Su-yun's words were definitely not without reason. Shu Qili had no reason to give up on pestering her just because he was afraid of Su-yun. Could it be that all of this was really like what Su-yun said, that it was inextricably linked to Ji Feng? You should know that Ji Feng has a tea house. If you don't believe me, you can use the Three Lotus Association's connections to get the surveillance footage around the tea house. See if Shu Qili from the Longxing Society went there the night before. And then he didn't come out again. Su-yun said calmly. Lin Suin took a deep breath. She believed that if Su-yun didn't have full confidence, he wouldn't say these words. Because with the Three Lotus Association's connections, it was easy to get some civilian surveillance footage. Then who are you trying to help by approaching me? Lin Suin said, What do you mean by he used to be a member of the Three Lotus Association? Su-yun smiled. Since you've asked, then I'll make it clear. He used to be not just an ordinary member of the Three Lotus Association, but also a hall master of the Three Lotus Association. You mean Wu Yuandong? Lin Suin reacted immediately. Su-yun. Where is he? Su-yun gestured for Lin Suin to calm down. Brother Dong is too gay. He invited me to help him. I'm telling you this today because I believe that you trust me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have saved me from your father's basement. If you're willing to trust me, then I hope you can trust whatever I'm about to say. Lin Suin stared at Su-yun with wide eyes. I did trust you before, but now I don't dare to believe it. Unless you bring me to see Wu Yuandong. I know Brother Dong. He has never had any disloyalty to the Three Lotus Association. Even though there were many bad things about him, I still believe that he's not that kind of person. Su-yun shrugged. If that's the case, then it seems that Brother Dong's worries are unnecessary. He doesn't dare to see you because he's worried that you've all been brainwashed by Ji Feng and believe that he's an evil person. That's why he went through so much trouble, hoping to gain your trust through my help. He thinks that the only person in the Three Lotus Association who can trust him is you. It seems that Brother Dong is right. What the hell is going on? Bring me to him now. I need to know what happened immediately. Lin Suin couldn't wait. The matter is indeed quite urgent. Brother Dong and I are also very anxious to let you know what exactly happened. The Three Lotus Association is indeed facing a very urgent crisis. Su-yun, of course I'll bring you to see Brother Dong, but not now. I don't know where he is now. We'll only go back to his house at night. Lin Suin frowned in confusion. Then what's he doing during the day? Collecting evidence, of course. Su-yun smiled. If you want to know more, we can go to the classroom first. I'll tell you slowly. Class starts in 5 minutes. If you don't want to skip class or be late, we'll have to hurry. Lin Suin took a deep breath and made up her mind. Okay. Go to the classroom and tell me. Su-yun used 2 classes to tell Lin Suin everything that he should tell her. Lin Suin's shock was no less than Mars crashing into Earth. She couldn't believe that Ji Feng was such a hypocrite. She also couldn't believe that Wu Yuandong had endured humiliation for 3 years just to consider the safety of the Three Lotus Association. There were many things that Lin Suin didn't even dare to think about before. She really couldn't believe that there were so many schemes and traps around her. However, everything that Su-yun said was so real that Lin Suin couldn't believe that Su-yun was just making up a story. Lin Suin tried her best to calm down. She needed to calm down by herself before she could accept so many accidents. Chapter 675. After Lin Suin considered and absorbed all the questions, she immediately raised all her doubts. Su-yun's answers were all reasonable. Starting from the gold and jewelry robbery that Ji Feng did in Shenzhen 3 years ago, and then to Ji Feng's careful handling of his little secrets, everything pointed out to Lin Suin that he was suspicious. In the past, Lin Suin had seen Ji Feng meet with the Japanese, but she always chose to believe that it was her father who asked him to do everything. She didn't know what kind of person Ichiro Oshima was, but she knew very well that this Japanese obviously didn't want her father's fishing protection organization to exist. There were so many fishing protection organizations over the years, but the one that could really threaten the interests of Japan was probably only Lin Sihai's organization. Compared to most fishing protection organizations that only protest and protest, Lin Sihai's fishing protection organization did something more meaningful. They dared to go out to sea, they dared to go ashore, and they even dared to fight against the Japanese self-defense forces. Many times, the Japanese tried to deal with Lin Sihai's fishing protection organization on the sea, but they failed. When the Japanese couldn't win in a direct confrontation, what they liked to do the most was to corrupt their opponents internally. Perhaps this was their despicable nature. During the anti-Japanese war, when they invaded China, they liked to find traitors, and they knew how to make use of them. In this era, they were still good at making use of this. Often, the role of a traitor was even more useful than their own people. For example, Ji Feng, who the Japanese targeted this time, was definitely the best choice to be a traitor. He had ambition, status, and could do despicable things without feeling guilty or ashamed. He could also come into contact with the most important person that the Japanese wanted to deal with. All of this clearly showed that Ji Feng couldn't escape the rare arrangement of fate. The moment the Japanese targeted him, fate decided that he couldn't escape. Because his ambition was far greater than his gratitude. He wasn't like Wu Yuandong, who always remembered to be grateful. When interests and power were greater than anything else, Ji Feng would forget everything, even that he had Hua Xia's blood flowing in his veins. Since I can only see Brother Dong at night, what do you want me to do in the afternoon to pass the time as quickly as possible? Lin Suyin said, "You've only been in Taiwan for a few days, and you've wasted all your time on me. There must be a lot of places that you haven't seen, right? Is there any place in particular that you want to go? I'll accompany you." Su Yun shrugged. "Why don't you treat me to something expensive like tea eggs?" "Dear, don't think that all Taiwan are so ignorant. The guy who made the tea egg comment definitely doesn't represent all Taiwan." Lin Suyin smiled helplessly. The herbal tea egg incident was in full swing on the continent because of an ignorant person who thought he was a capable person. That was the result of his nonsense. "Dear? I didn't expect that Taiwan would call me that." Su Yun smiled faintly. "Since you've said so, then you can be my tour guide. There have been more and more tourists in Taiwan these years. I have to bring some souvenirs back this time. I hope that the souvenirs in Taiwan won't be the same as in the mainland. No matter where it is, it's all the same." Lin Suyin was happy to accompany him. Absolutely no problem. After the sun set, Su Yun brought Lin Suyin back to Wu Yuendong's house as promised. Of course, this was all done after they made sure that there was no little tail following them. But what made Su Yun puzzled was that Wu Yuandong still hadn't returned after they waited from 8 to 10. Lin Suyin was really patient. At least for these 2 hours, she had been very quiet. But as time passed, she couldn't help but ask, "Why don't you give Brother Dong a call? It's already very late. What if he needs our help?" Brother Dong is monitoring and following Ji Feng. He told me before that if there's a need, he will call me. Su Yun. After all, I can't predict what he's doing now. If he just happens to be following Ji Feng, my call might alert him. Lin Suyin shook her head. Brother Dong won't be so stupid. There are so many harassment calls and spam messages now. His phone must be on silent. If you call him and he doesn't pick up, it means that he has something important to do now. If there's nothing important, he will definitely pick up the phone. Su Yun couldn't persuade Lin Suyin. In the end, he chose to call Wu Yuandong. "Finally, someone is contacting you." The phone was picked up, but the voice was definitely not Wu Yuandong's. Although Su Yun's thoughts were in a mess, he quickly forced himself to calm down and asked the other end of the phone, "Who are you?" "Of course I'm the person Wu Yuandong wants to get rid of. Who else could it be?" Obviously, Lin Suyin recognized Ji Feng's voice. Su Yun immediately gestured for Lin Suyin to keep quiet. If Ji Feng knew that they had contacted Miss Lin, the situation would be bad. "I'm sorry, I don't really understand what you mean," Su Yun said. "Cut the crap. There's no information on Wu Yuendong's phone. There's no call record in the phone book, and there's no communication record in the contact list. He's really careful in everything he does. If you don't understand what I mean, you wouldn't have called me." Ji Feng snorted. "You can deny it, but I'll get someone to check his communication record in the communication company tomorrow." Su Yun realized that running away wasn't the way to solve the problem. "Ji Feng, what do you want? Just say it. But I'm warning you, be polite to Brother Dong." You want to negotiate with me? Ji Feng sneered. Kid, although I don't know who you are, I'm sure that you're definitely related to Huang Xionghe and Bao, who tricked me a few days ago in the mainland. I'll give you half an hour to go to the warehouse west of the container storage area at the North Bay Pier. If you're not there in half an hour, I'm afraid we won't even be able to collect Wu Yuendong's corpse. Without waiting for Su Yun to speak again, Ji Feng hung up the phone. Then, Ji Feng used Wu Yuendong's phone to send a picture to Su Yun. It was a picture of Wu Yuandong that was just taken. Obviously, Wu Yuandong had been tortured. He looked very miserable. Su Yun clenched his fist instantly. Why did it turn out like this? After seeing the picture, Lin Suin's beautiful face turned pale. She looked absent-minded and depressed. How did things suddenly turn out like this? Miss Lin, I might not have time to accompany you. Su Yun said, Brother Dong's situation is very dangerous now. I have to save him. I think it shouldn't be a problem for you to go home or go back to school, right? Lin Suin grabbed Su Yun, who was about to turn and leave. You won't be able to solve any problems by yourself. I know you're not an ordinary person, but Ji Feng is very powerful. Moreover, his subordinates are all experts. Brother Dong is still under their control. If you go, you'll only be walking into a trap. I'll go and beg my father. My father will definitely help you. But I have no other choice. Su Yun said, the evidence we have is all empty words. It's not enough for President Lin to believe. I can't put my hope on someone I don't have confidence in. I have to solve it myself. Su Yun would definitely not watch Wu Yuandong be tortured. Even if he couldn't solve the problem of dealing with Ji Feng, he would definitely not allow Wu Yuandong to die in Ji Feng's hands. All the resentment of being played by Ji Feng on the mainland must have been vented on Wu Yuandong. Unless he went, it was absolutely impossible to divert this resentment. Su Yun's decision was very firm. Lin Suin's sixth sense told herself that she couldn't stop Su Yun. She took out the car keys from her pocket and said, This is for you. It's not difficult to find the North Bay Pier. After leaving the neighborhood, turn left at the third intersection in the east. Just keep going straight. Thanks. Su Yun decisively took the keys from Lin Suin's hand and quickly opened the door to leave. However, the four people standing at the door blocked Su Yun's path. Obviously, after Ji Feng caught Wu Yuandong, he wasn't stupid enough to sit still and wait for death. He immediately arranged for people to go to Wu Yuandong's house to find his accomplices. The four people standing at the door were just about to make a move when they saw Lin Suin behind Su Yun. They couldn't help but be stunned and said in surprise, Miss? Su Yun turned around and said, Now there's someone who can send you home. As soon as his voice fell, Su Yun suddenly made his move. Before the four people could react to Lin Suin's presence, three of them fell to the ground at lightning speed. The remaining person obviously didn't expect Su Yun's skills to be so fast. While he was still hesitating, Su Yun suddenly grabbed his throat and said, Mrs. Safety is all in your hands. Send her home obediently. Do you understand what I mean? Su Yun, go quickly. I'll take care of my own matters. He won't dare to disobey me. Lin Suin glared at the person and said, The people of the Three Lotus Gang naturally didn't dare to disobey the words of the Three Lotus Gang's Mississippi. After all, Ji Feng didn't dare to fall out with Lin Si-hai. After Su Yun let go of that person, he strode away. He hoped that Ji Feng wouldn't do anything to Wu Yuandong in this half an hour. Otherwise, he would definitely make Ji Feng pay 10 times, 100 times more. After Su Yun left, the remaining person among the four people who was still conscious didn't have the ability to stop him. Send me home, Lin Suin ordered in a firm tone. That person had a troubled look on his face. Eldest miss, but... What but? Lin Suin said impatiently, You don't dare to disobey Ji Feng's orders? Then think carefully about whether the Three Lotus Gang's surname is Lin. Yes, miss. That person didn't dare to have any more doubts. He immediately followed Lin Suin's orders and sent her home. As for how to explain to Ji Feng, that was a matter for another day. Compared to Hall Master Ji, these people didn't want to offend President Lin even more. Su Yun drove the car out of the district and followed the route Lin Suin told him. After making a turn, he headed north and rushed to the North Bay Pier at the fastest speed. Even if this wasn't the mainland, Su Yun wouldn't give up any chance for himself. Right now, Wu Yuandong's life was more important than anything else. After Yin Long's incident, Su Yun placed the most importance on this point. He wouldn't allow something like this to happen again. No one could. Even if he was facing a local snake, he wouldn't hesitate at all. If something happened to Wu Yuandong, Su Yun wouldn't be able to forgive himself. Wu Yuandong brought him to Taiwan Pier because he trusted him greatly. This kind of trust, in Su Yun's eyes, was the confidence to go through life and death together. As long as he, Su Yun, was still breathing, he wouldn't let anything happen to Wu Yuandong on Taiwan Island. Chapter 676. North Bay Pier, one of the many piers on Taiwan Island. It was neither big nor small. At least, after Su Yun arrived, it took him 10 minutes to find the west warehouse where the containers were stored. However, he still arrived at the scene within the 30 minutes specified by Ji Feng. The warehouse was brightly lit. Wu Yuandong was tied to a chair on the verge of death. Blood flowed from his mouth and nose. It clearly told Su Yun how cruel the care he received was. For a supreme expert to be trapped in this place, he had even exhausted all of his strength. To be able to turn Wu Yuandong into such a state, Ji Feng did indeed have his strength, and his subordinates were definitely not easy to deal with. Seeing Su Yun arrive, Ji Feng's expression instantly became uncertain. What a familiar face. Where had he seen this guy before? Right. The Japanese restaurant. That guy who spoke fluent Japanese. After realizing this, Ji Feng's expression became even uglier. So you're not from Japan? Looks like I've left quite a deep impression on Hall Master Ji. Su Yun sneered. Of course I'm not from Japan. That's why a Japanese lackey like you isn't fit to talk to me. Humph. Are you trying to provoke me? Ji Feng snorted. I don't care what purpose you and Wu Yuandong have. Today, I have to tell you one thing. Next year, today will be the anniversary of your death. Enjoy your last moments as human beings. Wu Yuandong struggled with a weak voice. Ji Feng, I'm telling you, even if I become a ghost, I won't let you off. You despicable person. The president thinks so highly of you. You actually colluded with the Japanese to harm him. Heaven is watching. Heaven is watching all the bad things you've done. You'll definitely get the retribution you deserve. Sooner or later. You'll pay a heavy price for all the things you've done. Evil will be repaid with evil. You'll definitely die a horrible death. Even if you win today, I still believe that you won't have a good ending. Evil will be repaid with evil? Humph. Where's the retribution? Ji Feng said disdainfully. Wu Yuandong, you're indeed a good person, but why don't I see your retribution? You said that I'm evil, but why don't I see it? Ha ha ha. It's not that I don't want to. It's just that the time hasn't come yet. Su Yun sneered. Ji Feng, life is a cycle of karma. The retribution you want will not be too late. Ji Feng glared at Su Yun. Are you threatening me? Trying to intimidate me? Then find something that can really scare me. Retribution? I never believed it. Even if there is, you won't be able to see it. Do you think the two of you can leave here alive? Kid, you're quite interesting. I just made a bet with Brother Wu that you wouldn't come here to die. Wu Yuandong looked at Su Yun apologetically. He didn't want Su Yun to come, but he knew Su Yun. Su Yun would never give up on him. But I didn't expect you to be such a fool. You really came here to die. Ji Feng continued, Brother Wu, I lost the bet, but so what? I didn't say that I would let you go if he came. Ha ha ha, He's only here to accompany you to the grave. He'll let you have a companion on the road to hell and won't be so lonely. Brother Su-yun, I shouldn't have dragged you into this. Wu Yuandong used the last of his strength to shout, "Go! 2 fists can't fight 4 hands. Ji Feng's strength is definitely not below yours. You can't win against so many of them." Boom! Ji Feng stepped forward and punched Wu Yuandong's lower abdomen. He said fiercely, "You're already like this, and you're still thinking about others? Don't let me see this side of brotherhood, okay? I don't like this feeling. Ji Feng, I'm warning you. Whatever you do to Brother Dong, I'll return it to you with interest." The veins on Su Yun's body were already bulging. If the brothers who were familiar with him were here, they would know just how strong the killing intent in his heart was. Ji Feng was also a super expert. Naturally, he could feel the strong killing intent. He slowly turned around and met Su Yun's gaze with the same anger. "Then return it to me. Let me see just what kind of ability you have." The sparks between the 2 experts were absolutely shocking. All the experts under Ji Feng couldn't believe that this guy in front of them was actually more terrifying than Wu Yuandong, a super expert of the 3rd rank. Outside the pier, the waves fiercely slammed against the shore, producing waves of whimpering roars. Inside the warehouse, the lights flickered under the pressure of the killing intent. Ji Feng never thought that Su Yun was actually stronger than Wu Yuandong. Although he didn't dare to underestimate his opponent, Ji Feng's overconfidence still caused Su Yun to gain the upper hand in the beginning. Su Yun didn't have any scruples. With his killing intent rising, he only had one thought, and that was to let this bastard in front of him get the retribution he deserved. He couldn't be bothered to think about whether he would offend the 3 Lotus Gang or the Japanese because of this. He only had one thought in his mind, and that was to kill Ji Feng. Die! Die! Su Yun in his berserk state was indeed not to be trifled with. Every move and style of his was aimed at a vital point. There was absolutely no room for mercy. After more than 10 rounds, Ji Feng didn't gain the slightest advantage over Su Yun. Of course, being cautious, he didn't give Su Yun any chance to kill him in one blow. "What are you all standing there for? Go!" After blocking Su Yun's punch, Ji Feng quickly retreated a few steps. Since he couldn't win, he'd have to find help. Although his subordinates could only play the role of cannon fodder in front of Su Yun, these cannon fodder could help Ji Feng find the flaw in Su Yun's defense. For a super expert, the real flaw was after the attack. If he was in a state of absolute defense, it would be very difficult to find any flaw. Ji Feng could easily subdue Wu Yuandong because he used his subordinates as cannon fodder. Now, he wanted to repeat the same thing. "Su Yun, run. You can't win against so many people." Wu Yuandong's reminder was so weak that Su Yun, who was filled with killing intent, couldn't even listen to him. In Su Yun's heart, there were only 2 choices in this situation. If we leave together. If we die together. He had already abandoned his brothers once. He swore that he would never do it a second time. As long as he still had a breath left, he would never abandon or give up. Even if the opportunity was pitifully small, he would do everything he could to grab it. Finally, at the same time that Su Yun counterattacked, Ji Feng caught Su Yun's flaw and suddenly kicked Su Yun's acupoint under his armpit. The huge numbness from his right arm forced Su Yun to retreat a few steps. At this time, Su Yun finally understood why Wu Yuandong let him go. It was because Ji Feng was too despicable. Ji Feng's subordinates weren't brothers in Ji Feng's eyes. They were just cheap lives. As long as these cheap lives could be exchanged for a flaw in his opponent, it didn't matter even if they died. To deal with this kind of people, Su Yun and Wu Yuandong were the same. They didn't have any good methods. Unless there was someone who could help them restrain the endless cannon fodder that rushed forward. Su Yun really couldn't understand why these people were so dead set on following Ji Feng. Little did he know that those who were willing to follow Ji Feng were all ambitious people like Ji Feng. They liked the feeling of power. Under Ji Feng, they had more power than under any other hall master. This was because Ji Feng was the person that President Lin valued the most. This was something that everyone in the Three Lotus Association knew. From the beginning, Su Yun had the upper hand to the current situation. It was all because of Ji Feng's subordinates. Su Yun had some misgivings about Ji Feng, who was eyeing him covetously and trying to seize his weakness. Thus, he was unable to deal with this group of fellows as quickly as possible. If this continued, when he ran out of stamina, Ji Feng would still have the opportunity to defeat him in one strike. The situation was getting worse. Su Yun needed someone to stand up and help him restrain these damn people. The sound of a car engine could be heard from afar. A minute later, a few cars drove directly into the warehouse. In the middle was a luxurious silver Bentley. Other than Su Yun, everyone present knew the identity of this car. When Lin Sihai and Lin Suin stepped out of the car, the atmosphere instantly quieted down. Everyone, including Su Yun, unconsciously stopped fighting. "Protect the president!" Ji Feng shouted immediately. "President, I finally found the traitor of the Three Lotus Association, Wu Yuandong. This kid who colluded with him is not ordinary." "President, miss, you must be careful of him." However, just as Ji Feng's subordinates were about to rush forward to protect Lin Sihai, they were stopped by the people around Lin Sihai. Not only did Lin Sihai bring his own people, but the other 4 hall masters were also present. Ancient Wood Hall's Di Zihong, Raging Fire Hall's Long Liang Hui, Deep Earth Hall's Han Guangli, and Shi Luanjuan, who had replaced Wu Yuandong as the hall master of the Clearwater Hall, were all present. Raging Fire Hall's Long Liang Hui was the oldest among all the hall masters. He strode forward and asked, "Ji Feng, what are you trying to do?" "What am I trying to do? Of course, it's to deal with the traitor for the Three Lotus Association." Although Ji Feng was younger than Long Liang Hui, he relied on the fact that he was more highly regarded and was not particularly polite to the other hall masters. He always wanted to be treated differently. "Brother Feng, I'm afraid that the president has to deal with the traitor himself, right?" Di Zihong said indifferently. "Especially when it comes to Wu Yuandong, it seems that other than the president, no one else has the right to make the decision." Ji Feng glared viciously at Di Zihong. Di Zihong's words were less respectful than usual, and this made Ji Feng feel very unhappy. "Brother Feng, let him go." Han Guangli also said indifferently, "Since the president is here personally, it's better to make things clear." Lin Suin saw Su Yun and Wu Yuandong like this and instantly had the urge to rush forward. However, Lin Sihai gently grabbed her wrist. There was some connection between father and daughter. Lin Suin knew that she would be in danger if she left her father's side. Since Su Yun and Wu Yuandong were not as bad as she had imagined, she felt a lot more at ease. Lin Sihai finally opened his mouth. "Hallmaster Ji, you really have to explain today's matter to me properly." Ji Feng's heart thumped. The president had not spoken to him in such a tone for a long time, especially when it came to addressing him. The president would only call him Hallmaster Ji when he was in a bad mood, and not Ji Feng directly. Ji Feng had a very bad feeling in his heart, and this feeling made him somewhat restless. "President, I found Wu Yuandong. He was a traitor back then. Now that he has returned, there must be some conspiracy." Ji Feng said, "President, what else is there to say to such a person? You might as well let me kill him directly. This way, the Three Lotus Association can rest easy." Chapter 677. In the face of Lin Suin's questioning, a trace of malice flashed between Ji Feng's brows, but that trace of malice disappeared in an instant. "Young miss, your words are too disappointing. The president knows best how much I've done for the Three Lotus Society over the years. Now that you're questioning me like this, I really don't know how to feel." In the face of such an unexpected situation, Ji Feng's adjustment was extremely quick. He immediately began to play the pity card and the merit card, because he had indeed contributed greatly to the Three Lotus Association. This was something that Lin Sihai could not deny, and the other hall masters could not deny as well. Even Wu Yuandong, who hated Ji Feng the most, clearly remembered Ji Feng's contributions. "Young miss, when you were 8 years old, you and the president were worshipping ancestors at Empty Mountain. When we were surrounded by enemies, it was I who rescued you and the president with my own strength. The bullet wound on my body is still there. You can't have forgotten the bullet I took for the president, right?" Ji Feng said, "When you were 16 years old, the president held a birthday party for you on the cruise ship. Someone bribed the captain to take us to the high seas to harm us. I was also the first to discover it and stop it, preventing the tragedy from happening. You should remember all this, right? I've always done everything for the Three Lotus Society, and now you're questioning me like this." When Lin Suyin heard this, she began to feel a little dazed. Ji Feng's contributions to the Three Lotus Society were definitely not limited to these things. There were many, many more. Many of Lin Sihai's affairs could be properly handled by Ji Feng. These were all intangible contributions. The reason Ji Feng's position in the Three Lotus Society was only below the president was because Lin Sihai had seen everything he did. Although Lin Suyin's heart had begun to waver, this was definitely not a reason for Lin Sihai to waver. If it was because of these things, Lin Sihai wouldn't have to suspect Ji Feng, and he wouldn't have rushed here because of his daughter's words. It was because Lin Suyin had told Lin Sihai all the things she had heard from Su Yun. Although there was no evidence, Lin Sihai believed that no one could fabricate such a realistic story. Perhaps these words were really conveyed to Lin Sihai by Su Yun or Wu Yuandong, and Lin Sihai would not believe them. But because these words came from his own daughter, Lin Sihai could really listen to them calmly and seriously distinguish whether these words were true or not. Lin Sihai did not believe in Wu Yuandong, nor did he believe in Su Yun. Instead, he chose to believe in his own daughter. "Ji Feng, I remember all your contributions to the Three Lotus Association very clearly." Lin Sihai said, "I didn't let your contributions go to waste." In the Three Lotus Group, everyone knows that you're an existence second only to one person. Everyone in the Three Lotus Group, including Di Zihong, Long Liang Group, Han Guangli, and Shiluanjuan, think so. What I've given you is definitely not wrong. Ji Feng nodded and said, "Yes, President. I know how highly you think of me. That's why I'm willing to do anything for the Three Lotus Association. That's why I'm willing to help the Three Lotus Association deal with the traitor." "Ji Feng," Lin Sihai said calmly, "contributions are contributions, and mistakes are mistakes. I can't turn a blind eye to your mistakes just because of your contributions to the Three Lotus Association. I hope you can admit to one thing. Have you ever had dealings with the Japanese? This isn't the first time someone has mentioned it to me. It's also not the first time your tea house has received Japanese. I may be old, but I'm not blind." Ji Feng's Adam's apple bobbed, and his expression became nervous. "President, I have indeed had Japanese come to my tea house. But I'm just making money. I really haven't done anything to betray the Three Lotus Association." According to criminal psychology, when a person has a guilty conscience, he will stutter for no reason. Su Yun suddenly said, "And because of nervousness, it will cause excessive secretion of saliva in the mouth. Swallowing saliva is also a sign that you have a guilty conscience." Just as Su Yun finished speaking, Ji Feng's Adam's apple bobbed again. Lin Sihai glanced at Su Yun. He knew what Su Yun was talking about. He had also noticed that many times when he mentioned the Japanese, Ji Feng would have this reaction of swallowing saliva. This was also one of the reasons why Lin Sihai believed his daughter today. It wasn't that he didn't suspect Ji Feng, but because his trust in Ji Feng far exceeded his suspicions, he didn't pay attention to Ji Feng's reactions. But now, he had no choice but to face this problem head-on. "Ji Feng, give me a reasonable explanation. I will still choose to believe you and not an outsider." The outsider Lin Sihai was referring to was naturally Su Yun. Lin Sihai admitted that he admired Su Yun, but this wasn't a reason for him to trust Su Yun. Admiration and trust were two completely different concepts. Even if Ji Feng was proven wrong today, Lin Sihai still wouldn't trust an outstanding young man that he had only met once. "President, what kind of explanation do you want?" Ji Feng said, I've said it very clearly. I didn't reject the Japanese who came to the tea house because I wanted to earn money. I swear I've never had tea with a Japanese. If you haven't had tea with a Japanese, have you had dinner with a Japanese? Lin Sihai asked. Ji Feng denied it immediately and answered with certainty, no. Absolutely not. Okay, you're right. I've already asked Long Lianghui to arrange for people to retrieve the civilian surveillance footage of your tea house and a Japanese restaurant. Lin Sihai smiled. I believe there will be a result soon. If there really isn't a Japanese who brought you to a Japanese restaurant for dinner, I'll immediately kill Wu Yuandong and his fabricating friend. Ji Feng's Adam's apple bobbed crazily again. But if there really is a Japanese who brought you to a Japanese restaurant for dinner in the surveillance footage, then I'm afraid I can't do as you wish. Lin Sihai's voice was filled with irresistible majesty. Long Lianghui's phone rang. He asked Lin Sihai with his eyes as he picked up the phone. Speak. Lin Sihai would face any result calmly. He quietly waited for Long Lianghui to tell him the result and the answer. Okay, got it. There's nothing else for you to do. Go do your own thing. Long Lianghui hung up the phone and met Lin Sihai's gaze. President, I've found out what you asked me to investigate. There was indeed a Japanese who drove to the tea house to pick up Ji Feng and brought him to a Japanese restaurant for dinner. Ji Feng's heart dropped to the bottom of the valley. Phew. Lin Sihai sighed in disappointment. Ji Feng, what do you want me to say about you? President. Just a meal can't prove anything. Ji Feng tried his best to explain. If I've done something to let down the Three Lotus Association, then I deserve to die. But I really didn't do anything. Lin Sihai closed his eyes and tried to calm himself down. You should know very well what kind of attitude I have towards the Japanese. Why are you so close to the Japanese? Ji Feng, you really didn't do anything to let down the Three Lotus Association. But this only makes me more suspicious. If you do something to let down the Three Lotus Association, then even I won't be able to save you. President, I swear on my life. Wu Yuandong gathered what little strength he had left and gasped for breath. Ji Feng, he really wants to usurp the throne. Usurp the throne. When this word came out of Wu Yuandong's mouth, everyone fell silent. This was definitely a taboo among taboos. Wu Yuandong, I should have killed you 3 years ago. Then you wouldn't have to talk so much nonsense. Ji Feng was suddenly enraged. He suddenly exerted his strength and rushed toward Ji Feng. At this moment, he only had one thought in his mind, and that was to rip Wu Yuandong's heart out. Let him regret his decision to return to being gay before he dies. Fortunately, Su Yun didn't let down his guard against Ji Feng. Before Ji Feng could make a move, Su Yun stood in front of Ji Feng and sneered. Hallmaster Ji, you seem to have forgotten that your opponent should be me. Ji Feng stepped back to avoid Su Yun. He suddenly shed all pretense of cordiality and completely exposed his hidden scheme. All right, since things have come to this, I have nothing to hide anymore. President, I didn't want to do this to you at first, but you forced me to do this today. Lin Sihai didn't say anything. He just shook his head helplessly. The person he valued the most had publicly betrayed him at this moment. This kind of loss was something no one else could ever feel. In addition, Lin Sihai's heart wasn't just lost. He also blamed himself. For the past 3 years, he had wronged Wu Yuandong. He had wronged this loyal person who reminded him not to raise a tiger. What else could make Lin Sihai feel worse than this? Of course there was Han Guangli, Shi Luanjuan. How long do you two want to pretend? Ji Feng said, It's already at this time, why aren't you making a move? Have you forgotten the oath to split the world with me? Ji Feng wasn't the only traitor. There was also Han Guangli of Deep Earth Hall and Shi Luanjuan of Clearwater Hall. This blow was definitely quite heavy for Lin Sihai. He really didn't expect that he would fall for someone who had been so good at judging people his whole life. There were 5 most important hall masters under him, and 3 of them had bad intentions towards him. Han Guangli and Shi Luanjuan didn't continue to pretend after being exposed. Fortunately, Di Zihong and Long Lianghui were still by Lin Sihai's side. They immediately forced the two to the side. Shi Luanjuan, do you know what you are doing? Di Zihong shouted angrily. If you didn't have the president's support, do you think you can be a hall master? You actually repay kindness with evil and treat the president's trust like this. Are you still a human? Shi Luanjuan didn't have the intention to repent. If Brother Feng didn't let Wu Yuandong leave, I wouldn't have the chance to be the hall master of Clearwater Hall. If Shi Luanjuan isn't a human, then what about you, Han Guangli? Long Lianghui sneered and said to Han Guangli, you were promoted by the president. Is this how you should be grateful? I can reach this step today by relying on my own ability. Han Guangli said, my ability is not under you and Di Zihong, but because I am younger than you, the president won't give important things to me. Why should I be willing to be under you all the time? Power, this thing was really subtle. Lin Sihai suddenly realized at this moment that it wasn't someone else who caused the situation today, but himself. It was he who destroyed his capable helpers. But it was helpless that no one in the world could be impartial. There would always be people who felt unfair. This was always inevitable. Chapter 678. The real problem had only just begun. When Han Guangli and Shi Luanjuan found out that Lin Sihai was looking for trouble with Ji Feng, they had already made preparations. At this moment, the people Lin Sihai had brought with him, as well as the people Long Lianghui and Di Zihong had brought with them, were all secretly bribed by them. As for the brothers who were willing to risk their lives for them, Han Guangli and Shi Luanjuan found excuses to keep them in the Lin clan. I'm sorry, Hall Master Long. The price Brother Li and Brother Jun offered us was too high. We couldn't refuse. When Long Lianghui's subordinate said these words to him, his anger had already burned his heart. If Di Zihong hadn't reached out to hold him back, he really would have stepped forward without hesitation to break this guy's neck, or even use a more brutal method. However, Di Zihong's actions were correct. He knew that Long Lianghui's attention couldn't be attracted by these scum. They had to face Han Guangli and Shi Luanjuan. These two were the real trouble they were facing right now. And behind these two, there was Ji Feng, whose strength was definitely higher than theirs. Of course, Di Zihong wouldn't place his hopes on Wu Yuandong and Su Yun. Wu Yuandong had already suffered enough at Ji Feng's hands. He didn't have any fighting strength to speak of. Su Yun was just an outsider to the people of the Three Lotus Association. When the real crisis arrived, they definitely wouldn't place their trust and hope on an outsider. Take the president and young miss away. I'll think of a way to deal with this. Long Lianghui put away the anger in his heart and said to Di Zihong, if anything happens to me, I'll leave the president and young miss to you. Di Zihong, you have to ensure their safety. Di Zihong naturally hoped to bring the president and miss away, but the current situation was not as good as Long Lianghui had predicted. Not only inside the warehouse, even outside the warehouse, Han Guangli and Shi Luanjuan's men had surrounded it. There was no way for him to fight his way out of the encirclement. Originally, Ji Feng's dozen experts inside the warehouse had already caused him a lot of trouble. Now, Han Guangli and Shi Luanjuan had brought another dozen over, and there were even more outside. These were obviously the experts they could bring with them. Among them, there was no lack of first-rate experts, and even the weakest was a second-rate ninth-stage expert. The strength of the Three Lotus Association was well known in Taiwan. Many people in the mainland could not afford to offend them. Naturally, there were many hidden dragons and crouching tigers in the association. Su Yun should have thought of this a long time ago. If it was just these subordinates, he was confident in dealing with them. However, Ji Feng, Han Guangli, and Shi Luanjuan were all super experts. Wu Yuandong could indeed stall Ji Feng, and he believed that Di Zihong and Long Liang could stall Han Guangli and Shi Luanjuan. However, their subordinates could do whatever they wanted. Wu Yuandong didn't have the ability to protect Lin Sihai and Lin Suin. Once Lin Sihai and Lin Suin were controlled, they would be at the mercy of others. At that time, Long Lianghui and Di Zihong would definitely surrender to ensure the safety of the president and Mississippi. At this moment, Su Yun wished that someone could step forward and help him deal with these small fries. Hall Master Long, don't you think that we are too simple? If you want the president and Miss to escape unscathed, it depends on your sincerity. Ji Feng's laughter was savage. You want to use your life to make a contribution and protect the president? Sure, I'll give you a chance. As long as you have the guts to dig out your own heart, I'll let the president and Miss go. How about this deal? Ji Feng's ruthlessness was not just for show. If you dare to swear, then I dare to do it. Long Lianghui made up his mind. I don't have much ability. It's all thanks to the president that I have today. If I can die for the president and Miss, then the president's nurturing of me will not be in vain. Speaking of the Long Liang Society, he was definitely one of the most loyal members of the Three Lotus Society. His father's uremia and mother's cancer were being treated and maintained in the best hospital in the United States, and these were all arranged by Lin Sihai. Everything that Lin Sihai had done for Long Lianghui was the greatest favor he had done for him. Therefore, at this moment, Long Lianghui really took out a dagger and prepared to dig out his own heart as a bargaining chip in exchange for the safety of Lin Sihai and Mississippi. He was not joking at all. Ah Long, if you believe a guy who will even break his promise to his master, then you've lived your life in vain. Lin Sihai suddenly opened his mouth. He was not the kind of person who could accept this condition. His real purpose is definitely not to take your life. Long Lianghui, who had already pulled out his dagger, turned his head and glanced at Lin Sihai. Soon, his eyes were filled with guilt because he did not know how to solve the current problem. The president is smart. Ha 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 ha. Ji Feng laughed wildly. President, you know what I want. As long as you are willing to give me what I want, we can discuss everything. Lin Sihai smiled very easily. What do you want? It's nothing more than power and money. With power and money, you can get anything. The president is the president. You really know me too well. However, you still missed one thing. There is also the beauty. Ji Feng said, this beauty can't be bought with money. All these years, everyone knows how I've always treated eldest Mississippi. If eldest Miss says 1, I don't dare to do 2. If eldest Miss says to go east, I definitely don't dare to go west. President, so you can rest assured that if Miss follows me, I will definitely hold her like a pearl in my palm. Di Zihong was burning with anger and cursed fiercely. Ji Feng, you bastard, don't go too far. You even dare to covet Miss. You really have the ambition of a wolf. Ji Feng looked at Di Zihong disdainfully. You are right, I have the ambition of a wolf. So what? What can you do to me? Di Zihong, I have tolerated you for a long time. You and Wu Yuandong are the same kind of bastards. You have to go against me no matter what I do. You have ruined my big plans several times. I have long found you unpleasant to the eye. If you have the guts, fight me one-on-one. Let the president and Miss go. I will play with you. Di Zihong cursed. Do you dare to try? You are not qualified to fight me one-on-one. Ji Feng sneered. Don't talk nonsense. As long as the president agrees to my conditions, you will be safe and sound. If the president doesn't agree, I will have to use force. President, you old man, think about it carefully. Do you want to die with power, or do you want to let go? I will definitely find a good place for you to retire. Lin Sihai had lived for more than half of his life and had seen all kinds of storms and waves. He was obviously calmer than the others. You want power, right? I can give it to the Three Lotus Association. Ji Feng laughed. President, you are so cooperative. What about Miss? But if you want my daughter, I am afraid you are not qualified. Lin Sihai's voice was firm and powerful. Stop dreaming, it is time to wake up. The smile on Ji Feng's face disappeared. Okay, Lin Si-hai, I will give you a choice. Either you marry Miss to me, or you give me the name list of the Protective Fishing Organization. Today's matter is over. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite to you. Did the Japanese approach you just to let you get the name list? Lin Si-hai's eyes seemed to have an inexplicable majesty. Even if Ji Feng had the upper hand now, he still didn't dare to look at him. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask, Ji Feng said. Give me the name list. I can give you and Miss a way to live. Su Yun suddenly whistled. The fox's tail is finally showing. President, you finally know what kind of wolf cub you've been raising, right? I'm sorry, our Three Lotus Association's matter has affected you. Lin Si-hai smiled slightly. Oro can make a friend like you in the mainland, it is God's blessing for him. I have wronged him too much over the years. If there is a chance, I will make it up to him. Hee, but it seems to be too late to say this now. Wu Yuandong looked up weakly at Lin Si-hai. President, to be able to hear your words before I die, my heart is. Then there is no need to wait. Do what needs to be done. A sinister smile suddenly appeared on Su Yun's face. This smile caused even a sinister person like Ji Feng to feel a chill run down his spine. Just as Su Yun's voice fell, more than a dozen Three Lotus Association traders guarding the warehouse door fell at the same time. They covered their faces in pain and rolled on the ground. The feeling of having their eyeballs pierced by a coin was definitely not a good feeling. Lin Ji's appearance filled Su Yun with confidence. 5 minutes ago, he had sensed Lin Ji's familiar aura. Of course, Su Yun also had his doubts. In addition to Lin Ji's familiar aura, he also felt another aura. It was familiar, but also unfamiliar. The appearance of Lin Gu and the mysterious person instantly broke the stalemate. The figure with Lin Gu was definitely someone who was more than a level higher than Lin Gu. The Three Lotus Association's traders were not worth mentioning in front of these two super experts. Lin Gu killed them all as if he was cutting vegetables, instantly reversing Su Yun's passive situation. Without Imp's harassment, Su Yun could naturally train with Ji Feng alone. And Long Lianghui and Di Zihong could also play with Han Guangli and Shi Luanjuan. Because there was no one who could threaten Lin Si-hai and Lin Suin's safety, they had no scruples. Let's fight to our heart's content. Let these two traitorous bastards have a taste of the bitter fruit of betrayal. Long Lianghui and Di Zihong, as well as Han Guangli and Shi Luanjuan's strength, should be on par with each other. However, the aura of the two sides was completely different. Han Guangli and Shi Luanjuan had long lost their initial arrogance. Now that the situation was over, they only thought of how to escape and protect themselves. The more they had such a mentality, the less they wanted to fight. In the face of Long Lianghui and Di Zihong's deadly attacks, Han Guangli and Shi Luanjuan could only show signs of defeat. There was no way they could resist at all. Hall Master Ji, isn't it time for us to settle our debts? Su Yun sneered. The slanted corners of his mouth were so charming, at least in Lin Suin's eyes. Ji Feng did not expect that two troublemakers would appear in the middle of the journey. Moreover, their movements were so fast that he almost could not see them clearly. By the time all of his subordinates in the warehouse had been knocked to the ground, only one of the two troublemakers was left. Brother, this bastard caused Brother Dong to be like this. You have to pay him back 10 times over. Lin Gu had already stopped. He stood beside Wu Yuandong and helped him remove the steel chains while scolding with heartache. This bastard is too ruthless. Brother Dong, are you all right? I'm a pigeon. Wake up quickly and see how my brother will avenge you. Chapter 679. Ji Feng quickly analyzed the situation in his mind. If he fought head-on, he would only be able to fend off Su Yun's men. If the fierce man beside Wu Yuandong joined in as well, he would have no chance at all. Escaping was the only option he had. As long as he escaped to the Japanese's side, he would have a chance to make a comeback. Su Yun saw through Ji Feng's thoughts. It's too late to run now, isn't it? Ji Feng sneered. Not necessarily. Suddenly, Ji Feng took out a smoke ball from his pocket and smashed it on the ground. With a bang, white smoke rose everywhere. The chemicals in the smoke ball mixed with the air under the strong impact. The white smoke that exploded instantly filled the entire warehouse with a pungent smell. Su Yun was alarmed. Not good. He had actually overlooked such an important point. That damned bastard had used this thing to escape from Bao Tianxia's hands the last time. Su Yun had actually carelessly forgotten this point. When the white smoke dissipated slightly, Ji Feng was nowhere to be seen. Lin Suyin, who had been beside Lin Si-hai, had also disappeared along with Ji Feng. This was bad. Su Yun's heart skipped a beat. If Ji Feng had taken Lin Suyin away, she would be in danger. This was the best bargaining chip that Ji Feng could use to threaten Lin Si-hai. As long as Ji Feng could get the name list of the fishing organization from Lin Si-hai, he would still be valued by the Japanese. Using the Japanese to make a comeback was obviously Ji Feng's strongest desire and fantasy. If Su Yun wanted to stop all of this from happening, he must not let Ji Feng escape from their hands. In the blink of an eye, Su Yun had already chased after Ji Feng before anyone in the warehouse could react. Based on his intuition, Su Yun felt that the Japanese restaurant that day might be a stronghold of the Japanese's conspirators. At this moment, Ji Feng, who had nowhere else to go, would definitely go to that restaurant to seek protection from the Japanese. Since he trusted his intuition, Su Yun did not waste any time and quickly chased after the Japanese restaurant. As long as he caught Ji Feng before he met with the Japanese, everything would still be in their favor. The pungent white smoke in the warehouse finally dissipated. At this time, Han Guangli and Shi Luanjuan had already been subdued by Di Zihong and Long Lianghui. Lin Ge helped Wu Yuandong up. Everyone quickly realized that Su Yun and Ji Feng were not the only ones who had disappeared in the smoke. Lin Suyin had also disappeared. Where's eldest miss? Long Lianghui was shocked and turned around to ask. Di Zihong was at a loss. There was too much smoke just now, I didn't see anything at all. Could it be that eldest miss was... Damn it! Long Lianghui scolded and grabbed Han Guangli's collar, pressing him against the wall. Speak. Where did Ji Feng escape to? Ha ha ha, Hallmaster Long, I think you should be more polite to me. Han Guangli laughed. Right now, eldest miss is the bargaining chip that Brother Feng wants to use to exchange for me and Shi Luanjuan. If you hurt us, I'm afraid Brother Feng won't treat the bargaining chip in his hand well. Shi Luanjuan also heaved a sigh of relief. Although he had been subdued by Di Zihong, he still said in a relaxed manner, Hallmaster Di, you heard it too. It's better to be more polite to us. Long Lianghui and Di Zihong could not wait to kill the people in front of them. However, if Ji Feng took eldest miss away, these two people could not be killed. They were important bargaining chips to exchange for eldest Mississippi. Lin Si-hai could be very calm the entire night because his daughter had been standing by his side. At this moment, his emotions were indeed a little chaotic. If Ji Feng dares to do anything to my daughter, I guarantee that you will die a worse death than you can imagine. President, don't be in a hurry to threaten us. You should think about how to take us to exchange for eldest Mississippi. Shi Luanjuan looked like he had the upper hand. He had the reason to do so because Lin Suyin, this bargaining chip, was too important to them. Lin Si-hai's love for this daughter was absolutely beyond anything. Not to mention exchanging them, even if Lin Si-hai used his own life to exchange for her, Lin Si-hai would not hesitate at all. Wu Yuandong's breathing suddenly became heavy. Lin Ge knew that he was gathering strength and wanted to speak, so he used a comfortable position to support Wu Yuandong so that he could breathe more smoothly. President, what Ji Feng wants is definitely not them. They are not bargaining chips. Ji Feng wants the name list of the Protection Fishing Organization. He colluded with the Japanese. The Japanese want this name list. Wu Yuandong said, he thinks that as long as he gives the Japanese this name list, the Japanese can help him usurp the power to rise. After saying a lot, Wu Yuandong was exhausted and gasping for breath. Bullshit. Han Guangli and Shi Luanjuan were, of course, scared. If they were not bargaining chips, then there was no reason for them to live. Di Zihong had nowhere to vent his anger. After Shi Luanjuan scolded him, he suddenly made a move and snapped Shi Luanjuan's neck. Because his action was too sudden, Shi Luanjuan did not even have the chance to react before he went to see King Yama. Han Guangli saw this scene and immediately shut his mouth. Once they were not bargaining chips, they were not far from death. Now you are no longer bargaining chips to exchange for eldest Mississippi. Give me a reason to let you live. Di Zihong's gaze fell on Han Guangli. Where will Ji Feng take eldest miss? Speak. I don't know. I really don't know. Han Guangli said, Ji Feng never told us what he did. He is very careful. I really don't know anything. Long Lianghui whispered in Han Guangli's ear, If you don't know anything, then there is no reason to continue living, do you understand? President, I was wrong. Brother Long, Brother Hang, please, let me go. Give me a chance to redeem myself. I will definitely help you find Ji Feng and punish the traitors for the Three Lotus Association. When Han Guangli suddenly realized the threat of death, he realized that he was actually so afraid of death. Of course he was afraid of death. His status and position in the Three Lotus Association had given him limitless glory. He had not lived long enough. He had not enjoyed the pleasures of life. If he died now, he would never have the chance to enjoy them again. It's too late, Lin Sihai said indifferently. Long Lianghui received the order and stabbed the dagger in his hand into Han Guangli's cervical artery. If they are all dead, how are we going to find Ji Feng? Di Zihong frowned. President, what should we do? Even if they are not dead, they won't know where Ji Feng is, Lin Sihai said. Lin Sihai said, I know Ji Feng. He is very cautious and will not easily trust others. Even if Han Guangli and Shi Luanjuan have expressed their loyalty to him, he will never let them have the evidence of his connection with the Dongying people. Wu Yuandong finally recovered some of his strength. President, maybe, Ji Feng will, huff, bring Miss to that Japanese restaurant. Everyone's eyes lit up. Indeed, if the Japanese were to bring Ji Feng to that restaurant to discuss matters, it was obviously a safe place for them. Little brother, thank you for today's matter, Lin Sihai said. But now I still need to trouble you. Please bring Wu Yuandong to Taipei Hospital. Tell them that I, Lin Sihai, asked you to bring him here for treatment. Lin Gu smiled. President Lin, you are too polite. Even if you did not ask, with my relationship with Brother Dong, I would have sent him to the hospital immediately. But now that my brother, Su Yun, and Ji Feng have disappeared, it seems that I need to go to that restaurant. I hope that you can help send Brother Dong to the hospital for treatment. After that, Lin Gu looked at Wu Yuandong. Brother Dong, don't blame me. It's not that I don't care about you, but that Ji Feng is too insidious. I'm really worried about my brother. I understand. You go quickly. Su Yun needs your help. Wu Yuandong said. Lin Sihai nodded. He understood. Ahang. Send Ou to the hospital immediately. Yes. Di Zihong knew that the president's tone meant that this order was irresistible. Even if he wanted to kill Ji Feng personally, he didn't need to go now. Di Zihong drove Wu Yuandong to the hospital, while Long Lianghui drove Lin Sihai and Lin Gu to the Japanese restaurant. Of course, in this troublesome scene, Long Lianghui will naturally call his trusted subordinates to clean up the mess. No matter what the outcome was, the Three Lotus Association suffered heavy losses today. They lost 2/3 of their elite force. Of course, since these people's hearts had already betrayed them, it was meaningless to keep them alive. Su Yun's intuition was correct. He finally caught up with Ji Feng before he entered the Japanese restaurant. After seeing Su Yun, the surprise in Lin Suin's heart immediately replaced the fear. Su Yun. Save me. Hallmaster Ji, running away with your tail between your legs is something only a puppy would do. You're a man, don't you feel ashamed? Su Yun smiled slightly. In my life, the thing I despise the most is people who use women as a shield. Now that there's only you and me here, do you dare to fight with me? If I win, you let her go. If I lose, you can do whatever you want with me. Ji Feng sneered and held Lin Suyin tightly in his hands. Su Yun, you're too naive. I really want to kill you with my own hands, but I won't. I admit that your strength is definitely not below mine. But I don't have time to waste my breath with you now. If you want Mrs. Life, let Lin Si-hai take out the list of leaders of their Bull** Tea Protection Organization in exchange. Otherwise, no matter how much I like Miss, I will never show mercy. Do you hear me? Ji Feng, do you really think that the Japanese will protect you? If you don't have the list, you're nothing in the eyes of the Japanese. You have no value at all. President Lin will never give you the list. That concerns the interests of the country. Su Yun said, let Lin Suyin go and I'll let you live. Before President Lin and the Japanese arrive, you still have a chance to escape. Humph, are you trying to scare me? It's impossible that the Japanese won't use me. Even if I don't have the list, I'll still be used. Ji Feng said, Su Yun, I'm warning you. If you take another step forward, I'll break Mrs. Arm. If you don't believe me, you can try. Get out of my way. Su Yun raised his hands and took a step back. He knew that if a person was crazy, he could do anything. Okay. I'll listen to you. Don't be agitated and don't do anything stupid. Consider my suggestion carefully. That you're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.